Let me get in the old TL.
Oh, yep.
Oh yeah.
This is called Stickheads, right?
The old
Yep,
TL.
yep.
Oh, yep.
I actually had another
yeah.
name for this show all ready to go.
This is called Stickheads, right?
The old
Yep.
TL.
Whoa.
Oh, yep.
Okay. And yeah, I had another name ready to go, and I ended up having to redo everything, like the overlay and stuff.
Yeah.
This guy from our scene came onto Discord and he's like, "What's up, Stickheads?" And I was like, "Okay."
He's like, fuck, that's good.
Oh,
It's like, thank you for the
it's like,
content, man.
Damn.
Yeah. Did you tweet it out, Don?
Yeah.
I just tweeted your stream. I can retweet it as well. It's not.
No, that's good.
Yeah, cool.
All right, we got it. Cool.
Excellent. Well, I mean,
And
without further ado,
as-
I think everybody so far has a pretty good idea of who me and Josh are and what we're about. But Anise, why don't you introduce yourself and give a bit of a introduction into your beginning with Melee and where you're at the moment.
Do you want me to like start like all the way back or like what? Like how far
Fresh
are we
out the
going?
womb, what happened? You just
All
told
right.
us about the name, so.
So, I boot up Melee as a, 4-year-old or whatever. And at that time, my dad was, as some, the way we got our games back then, none of our games came with cases. That's all I'm going to say. So that's how we started. Fast forward like 10 years later, right? Smash 4 comes out and I'm like, oh shit, like new game. And I was like 15 or 16 when that shit came out. And I bought a 2DS because I didn't have enough money to buy a Wii U, garbage console anyways. And so I would go to tournaments and play on my 2DS, like at home, and then would go and play on GameCube controller when I went to tournaments because you can't just like plug in your 2DS and shit. It just doesn't work.
I remember that.
So I played that.
A lot of people were doing that.
Yeah. So however long that was, and then I was the only pre-patch Diddy Kong Smash 4 in my scene for whatever reason. Character was busted, brain dead. Like you didn't even have to think about anything. And so I was getting like third, fourth. I was like a 15-year-old making that $20. You're like, oh shit, maybe I can do this.
He's like, this might be my career here.
And they had PM at that tournament, and I was like, that game looks fun. But when that like weekly died, there was just like no more PM in our scene at all. So I was just like, okay, might as well just switch to Melee. And I mean, probably like 2016, 2015 was when I started playing net play, and then like April 2016 was my first tournament, pretty much. And ever since then, I've been pretty much going to locals and stuff ever since.
Yeah, so
I don't know how specific you want me to get, but
that's alright. So kind of like 4 years of Melee.
yeah.
We've been playing around the same time. That's fucking.
Also, I don't know if you know this, but your video isn't on Discord. I don't know if it doesn't work.
No,
both ways
that's okay. I got it straight into
I got you.
OBS. So
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much how I got started. And I mean, just start showing up to locals, and then you just keep doing it.
And then it's just over for you after that,
Oh yeah, for sure. Once you start like saying yes to going to random, cities in Indiana for a week, like for a single day, and coming back, it's like, well, if I said yes to that, then I'm gonna go to Pittsburgh next week. People are gonna drive me.
And then the rabbit hole you just dive right in.
It's done.
It's over.
You make yourself $40 getting carried in doubles, and you're like, all right, now it's real.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
like,
you can
I'm ready to throw the
pay for
life away for
gas.
this one.
Yeah, you get a peach teammate, and that's it.
Yeah, for me, I knew it was over when I didn't bat an eye at my friend sleeping on a table for a children's 2001 party game. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is just. I think I've like hit my head at the bottom of the hole, and at this point, I'm just too dead inside to do anything else. But I love it. It's
Yeah,
too
I mean, that's why we're still here.
And you just recently graduated college, right?
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, maybe. Like, actual commencement was like 2 weeks ago, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got my stuff all finished up. Yeah, so
good. Oh shit.
yeah, so I'm college educated, I guess, whatever that means. But yeah, I finished not too long ago. It's kind of hard to find a full-time job in these times right now. So
sure.
however well that goes, we'll see. But yeah, as excited as I can be for doing that.
So you-
Definitely thought I wasn't gonna finish a lot of times halfway through there.
You're like out the other end of the system now. What's the plan for the next year? Like, what would be the ideal next year for you?
So, I mean, it's kind of been changing a lot for me the last like 2-3 weeks as well. Just kind of figuring out what I want to do. I've started streaming more, and I'm gonna keep trying to stream as much as possible, just to, at least give that a legitimate shot. But right now I'm working part time in geography, like in my field, anyways. But it's like part part-time position contingent on me being a student, which I'm no longer a student. So I think at the end of summer, in about 3 months, I'm going to get fired. So from now till then, I'll see what I can do. If I can get a full-time job, I'll take it. If not, we'll see what happens. But until then, I'm just going to be working part-time and streaming and kind of see as it comes, because, you can't really do too much with Melee right now, but
Yeah, for sure.
we'll do what I can.
But if that was an option, you definitely still wanting to be like playing Melee. This isn't like a goodbye
Oh, yeah.
for Melee.
No, yeah, no. I mean, like initially when I started playing Melee, like even as you get better, I never once thought about like taking it as like a full-time job, like as like, I'm a Melee player, even though, I am, but like,
Yeah, I know.
doing it full-time.
Yeah.
But, if I can give the opportunity a chance and see what I can do, then, I'll do it. So
Yeah, and it's kind
that's
of
where
a
I'm
bit
at right now.
It's low stakes at the moment if you're between, well, if you're going to be between like a part-time thing and looking for full-time work anyway, so.
Yeah, I want to give it. Yeah, as I said, I want to give it a legitimate shot because, like, this is probably the only time I have this opportunity to really, you get a full-time job and you start working 40 hours a week. It's going to be way harder to start streaming 5 hours a day right after, work every day,
Yeah.
So I might as well give my shot right now. And, I'm pretty motivated in Melee right now, and like the last couple weeks, especially. Like maybe before that I wasn't, but like I want to really, get back and start playing way more. Because, like, I'm a net play guy, but I didn't even enter these net play tournaments until, like, last week. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. So I'm going to start,
And once you get the full-timer, it's like you got to fly in on the Friday night or even the Saturday morning. Yeah. That gets really murky for Melee.
I mean, I don't know how, like, Face Roll does it or whatever. He just comes in, farms a tournament in Indiana on Saturday, goes back, wins something on Sunday, goes back to work on Monday. It's like, dude, come on. Like,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, a lot of the time we go to these tournaments to, like, kind of hang out, right, to have a good time. And it's like, if you're working a job and then you're playing Melee, and it doesn't even seem like a vacation or, like, even fun at that point if you're, like, clocking in those hours, like, like practically working, like, 70 hours a week or whatever, then, like, what can you really do?
You come off the plane and straight into round one, and it's like, maybe you say hi to a couple of guys on the way in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And, like, playing the way he does, too. Like, doing that type of lifestyle, just like, I can't understand it. Like, it's so fucked. But he does.
But yeah, I mean,
he's a freak.
People do it. Yeah, I mean, But that's kind of what I want to do in the short term, at least. And I don't want to be planning long term, anyways, right now, because you never know how things will change or what will happen in the next couple months. So I'm just kind of taking each week or day as we go, and that's what I'm doing right now, pretty much.
Yeah, cool.
Well, that's dope. Have you been practicing a lot, or just like you just said, you're starting to enter net play tournaments now, right?
Yeah. So, like, this is probably just outing myself, but I'm one of those people that, like, almost never solo practices. Like, I don't know the last time I sat down in front of a CRT and just grinded out tech skill, but I do play a lot, and that's how I get better, is I just keep playing, like, different people on net play or whatever, just play. And then, that way I kind of know that whatever I can do in my play is what I can do. It's not like, oh, I can do this in practice, I can't do it in play. I've done it in play, I can do it in play. It's kind of a different mentality, but I've been trying to do way more, like, focused actual Melee practice, not just
there's a big
play.
For sure.
Maybe you get better, maybe you pick up something or not, but like actually focusing as you're playing it. It makes a difference, even if you're not putting in 5 hours of tech skill afterwards. But if those 2 hours you're playing, you're actually focused and wanting to learn, it helps a ton.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I actually had this conversation with Quetz, who's like an Australian peach here. We do like 2 hours each day of playing. And halfway through the session, I'm like, I play like Fox. I'm just bombing these nairs, and I'm just like, what's happening? And I'm like, and he's just like, yeah, you're playing like shit right now. Let's take a break. And like, there was no like ego attached to it or anything like that. It's just like, this is just not focused practice right now. Like, we're just like mentally drained after playing for like an hour to an hour and 15 minutes straight. Like, no breaks, no nothing. So it's just like taking those 5 minutes off the setup and then coming back with like actual genuine focused practice is like so crucial. And like so many people don't actually solo practice, so it's not like a crazy big deal.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. I know it's kind of between two Fox mains. I know that playing Marth and Sheik and
get away with it,
did way more people get away with it than there.
Yeah. I think with net play, it has really taken the place of like, because the cycle previously, right, was go to a tournament, maybe do as well as you expected or maybe not, and take those matches, go home, and then when you were home, it was like you've either got people you can play locally with or it's time to get to work on the CRT. Just solo practicing. And now it's like there's so much availability to play people.
for me, when I started playing like actual Melee, when I transitioned to Melee, because I knew that Melee was like, very hard and you're going to get washed for however many months, however many tournaments you enter if you like literally know nothing. And I didn't go to a tournament for like 5 months maybe when I started playing Melee. I just net played straight through. I didn't even know what the hell I was doing. I played Marth, Sheik, Fox, Falco, Puff, Ice Climbers. I would just like play and just like get that fundamental base for like 5-6 months. And like, I think that kind of shows in the way I practice and play now still is like, I just kind of do that.
Yeah.
And
You've got the
and it's like
already sorted.
yeah, it's at least like learning, like my base is learning through that anyway. So like a lot of times when people like, especially earlier, maybe not nowadays, because like you kind of have to be really fast now to like even keep up. But like the way I played, people like think I was an old school player because I play kind of slow and more fundamentals based. But that was just because that's what you had to do on net play. You couldn't just, especially if you're starting straight through that, you couldn't just out tech skill people day one because you don't have any tech skill. You can't just do that. So that's kind of the way I've been going.
And so it's playstyle built on the necessity of trying to get wins on net play, essentially. Like, it's like, what's going to beat the person in front of me right now? And it's like, well, like jump reads or this or that, it's probably going to be the fastest way to do that.
That's exactly the way to put it. And it's like, the thing that will beat that guy, 3 minutes later, you're playing a completely different guy, completely different character, whatever.
Yeah.
That's a whole new amount of things. Maybe that guy won't do dumb jumps ever. He'll just be very disciplined, and you can't just do that. So it's a lot of different things.
And although, like, I heard Leffen talk about this a while ago, and it always really stuck with me. He was saying that the reason that people tend to get stuck with Melee or, like, not really rise very quickly is that it's human nature for us to want to improve at the things we're already good at. And that when we're playing, I feel like, especially just grinding out friendlies, maybe you guys are both way, way more big brain than me, but it's so easy for me to fall into the habits of just doing the things that I already like, the situations I'm already comfortable in, the situations I know I'm already going to win, rather than looking, like, trying to expand my brain into, maybe this situation could be played completely differently. Maybe I don't even need to fight this person here, or I can like dash dance or like wave dash down here and just like crouch cancel the attack instead of trying to trade it, or a million different things. But I feel like in solo practice, you can really visualize that, and especially if you've been watching a lot of Melee, you can kind of incorporate those things a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah, my big, kind of similarly is I know that I'm really stubborn. So it's like that type of thing is like my stubbornness comes through whether it's like while in a like tournament match or while playing friendlies or whatever, like whether I'm beating that person or losing to that person is like I'm just very hard-headed about it.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the times in Melee, like your opponent's sometimes not going to be as stubborn as you are and try to like play that same situation the way you think it's going to go or the way you want it to go, because it's just a completely different situation at that point. So yeah, that's a big thing that I've had to do is like, kind of realize that like, oh, I'm just kind of trying to throw my head into this, trying to figure out how to win or solve this situation, but I'm not even thinking about the fact that it could be a completely different situation or whatever. I'm just kind of doing it over and over again and hoping it gets better and better. Maybe I do it faster, but like that's just not the solution a lot of the time. It's just you gotta stop and not be so hard-headed about it.
Yeah,
for sure.
As long as you're aware of that, then I think it's probably
I feel like understanding how malleable situations can be in Melee is so crucial, especially against like the better players. It's just like sometimes you just get the one and done. Like you have your big read on this guy. It's just like finally I can like incorporate it. You get like maybe your 60 or you get your stock or whatever. And it's just like, well, that's not going to happen for the rest of the set. Like, it's like that. You don't even play that situation anymore because like they're just like, all right, this guy does this. But then there's
it's
that
also...
whole mix. Oh, you go, sorry.
No, you go ahead. But
I was just gonna say, there's a whole mix up as well. It's just like people who double dip, like into doing the same thing again. Because like some people go like, all right, so he's covered me double jumping to ledge. I'm gonna double jump above, like instant double jump attack next time. But like some people just like read the next like that part instead now. But some people just like will always go for ledge again just to double check, So shit like that is like always like you can kill yourself thinking about it. Like you just like give yourself a headache. But better players just like always seem like they guess right, and it's so frustrating.
And the thing about like when you're playing players that are really good is a lot of the time it's not even the macro situation that you can win. Their micro game and their SDI, their defensive game. Just sometimes you're already in checkmate before you come in. You're like, okay, maybe I overshoot, but like you're 2% below the the like tumble percent for Fox against holding down, and you're not going to win that situation no matter what if you try to pick Nair wherever you place it. So it's like their micro game and that defensive game sometimes just will outbeat you, and you'll think you're losing macro, but you're losing micro 7 times over before you're even like playing the game. It's just like how Melee is between like, you know, SDI and all these other mechanics that like at some point like you don't even think about it, you just do it. You know, I'm gonna hold down here, I'm gonna like SDI as much as I can, power shield, do a move, and you don't even know if the first thing is gonna happen, but you still hope to power shield, do the thing, you know, whatever it is. And so it's like, especially when you're playing against people who like really know what they're doing, it's like, man, those levels of micro just keep going over and over and over.
Yeah.
It's like you'll see like Westball's like admitting he doesn't know what like a frame is or whatever, and still just like playing micro way better than, you know, this was a couple years ago or whatever. But,
I think that's actually what separates Australia like a lot. Is like these little micro things. Like every time I go to America, I come back feeling like I'm cheating. I'm like, when I went there, I didn't understand how busted holding down was. And then I come back and like this guy's nairing me at 30. I'm like, you're probably dead off that, man. Like, sorry about that.
That Marth situation where he crouch cancels Fox's nair and then grabs him, like none of our Marths really were onto that. And so you see a situation.
And it is like cheating if you have it and the other person don't. It like literally feels that way because sometimes you could just turn your brain off, which is another like, I think you guys were talking about it earlier, is like, that could also be a trap, is like just turning your brain off and playing micro, because like you don't even need to think about micro. You could just nair at this guy and he doesn't know how to hold down and you do, so it doesn't matter, because if he hits you, you just hold down and grab him, and he doesn't know to do that, then you know it's checkmate already.
Exactly.
You know, you have to be playing neutral, which is like a problem, because then you just do that. And like, you know, I'm not in a scene, you know, Dreffin's been the best player in my scene forever how long, and Hanky Panky's been here and stuff, so like there's always been really good players here with that micro game. So I've always been, you know, I've always had somebody kind of ahead of me, above me, who understands that and will, even if they don't do it every time or whatever, it still shows me that that's something I could be doing. Or you can't just get lazy and try to out neutral them while they're playing better micro game. You have to be playing both just as well, if not better, to even have a chance.
Fully agree. I remember the first time I drilled Spud and he teleport grabbed me off like just 2 hits. And my first thought was just like, this game's just dog shit, man. Like, what the fuck is happening on my screen? It was like, I remember because it's like, people like, if you just like hold left or right or whatever and you're getting like drilled, like through like an extended one, you'll go left or right, whatever. But it was like 2 hits. And then he like instantly grabbed me from it. And I'm like, this is just like unreal. And like players who will like grab you out of getting shined airborne and all of that, like just like the
Marth has a lot of little situations where he can sneak a grab, like when you shine him when he's airborne and he can dash in. That one, I remember when that one people figured that out.
But we're so behind on that stuff here because it's one of those things where like you can point at it and you can go like, you see how he didn't die there? Like just do that all the time, and people will be like, oh, okay. But like sometimes it just doesn't click.
That's like, the thing that takes
to do it
thousands
too.
of hours
like,
to get into. You have to know what's coming. You have to know, oh, it's going to knock me down. And Mango's always been the best at this, and I think that's why he's been such a hard role model for people to follow, because it's on the surface it looks like, oh, you just do the nair and then you win.
Yeah, the Mango nair. It worked every time, right?
You just fight it. You just fight the other guy and then you win. And the reason for that is it's like his SDI and his ASDI and everything was so good. Like he used to deliberately take the dash attack to do tech in place shine with Falco. And that was like revolutionary. I remember watching a set of him versus Kirby Kaze where Kirby Kaze just kept dash attacking him, and he was waiting to take it so that he could tech it and get a combo. And at the time, I remember just thinking like, no one else was doing that kind of stuff where it's just like, take the hit, but then win the scrap anyway, like get insane SDI or like come off the hit at an advantage.
Yeah, it's insane. And it's so hard to, I was saying before, like how it's hard to say it. Like how would you, when I try to explain to someone like the micro situation, they're just like, man, every time I hit you, I just feel like I died. And then I'm just like, yeah, all I'm doing is just holding down. And they're just like, no, but what's the secret, man?
With people like in my scene and otherwise, you're just like, sit down with this Fox. And I'm like, look, I play Sheik, you play Fox. I dash attack you, you hold down, I lose that situation. I fair you, same thing, I lose. F tilt, up tilt, down smash, whatever it is. Sheik loses that situation. All you have to do is hold the control stick down. Like you have to make it, or at least what I've done is make it seem so broken in that specific transaction, because it is.
It actually is versus Sheik.
Yeah, it really is. But some people feel like there's a bit of like a, because we only can really play net play right now, like, you know, but it's just like when I try to like explain to someone, like at least like over like typing, I'm just like, yeah, you literally just have to hold down. Like when I'm playing Sheik, just hold down. They feel like it's like almost too easy, or it's just like this guy's just be like belittling me or something like that. Like there's a weird ego in a lot of like the net play kids here. Like this guy will just get like four stocked over and over. I'm just like, yeah, man, like I was just crouch canceling all your approaches. Like you just gotta like mix it up a bit more. Just like from different angles. He's just like, yeah, okay. It's just like, all right. He's just like, yeah, all right, cool. I mean, it's not for everyone, but it's tricky when it's almost too easy. But then there's like the other side where it's like Leffen's practice routine where it's like, yeah, I just grinded shield drops for like 4 hours today. I'm gonna go do my basic move for another
The problem
6.
is though, even if there's so many intangibles in Melee, and I think that's what we're talking about here, is the idea that like there's so many different ways where you can still outplay them, even if they've like then they start holding down, and then you just start drilling them because you know they're holding down, and they're like, it's not working.
Yeah,
like then the fighting game element comes back, you know.
Yeah,
or like,
no, that's true.
there's so many different things when you're giving someone advice, like, oh, you can just do this. It seems really simple, but for them, it's not that simple because you're still going to outplay them with so many different intangibles. And then they get frustrated because you're telling them it's so simple, just hold down, and then you're still beating them. It's like that kind of like stop hitting yourself kind of thing. Like grabbing someone's arm and just slapping them with it.
You subconsciously can play that mix-up as well. Like, if you're explaining to somebody holding down, you know the mix-up to beat hold down. You know the mix-ups after that anyway. So even if you're not actively trying to, teach them to hold down, you're still going to not get hit by hold down. You're still going to outplay that anyway. So it's like, especially teaching it, it's like, especially while you're like playing it on net play, as you said, like over text, it's so hard to get that across because like the second somebody starts beating my hold down, if I'm trying to prove a point, I'll just stop playing that way and change it instantly. Like even without thinking, I'll just do it. Yeah, because if you don't, you're gonna lose a tournament. Like it just happens in like a minute or two. Like if you don't adapt like that, it just happens. So that's just how it is.
Yeah,
it's fucking rough.
I remember Armada once. I was asking him about because he came to stay in Australia, so he recognized me when I first got to Genesis. I think it was Genesis 4, and I sat down with him. I started playing with him, and he showed me slide off DI, and he showed me all of this platform stuff with ASDI. And at the time, it was like no one was really doing it, and he was like, look how good this is. It works on Peach's up air, it works on Sheik's forward air, it works on all these different attacks. And we were just talking about focus and how there's kind of this misconception that he's like this huge brain guy who's like thinking he's just this mastermind. And I was asking him like, what are you thinking about during a set? Because I feel like anytime I'm really consciously thinking like that, it's never been good for me. And there's this myth that you're doing that. And he goes, no, not at all. I'm just coming into the set with every option, like every next step already there. And so it looks like I'm adapting, but really it's like that crouch cancel situation. He just goes, okay, and goes to the next thing that he already knows. And so his game knowledge going in is just so much bigger in all of these matchups that it's like he just goes to the next thing. So it looks like this crazy adaptation war between these players, but really it's just like playing their cards until Armada's got a handful of cards left because he still knows how to go to that next level. And then usually that's where the other player just, sometimes he loses game 1. But then games 2 and 3, he goes to that next one, and they just don't know what the next thing is, and they just start getting washed.
Yeah, no, I feel that for sure.
Like once you start trying to think.
Oh, your microphone's gone a bit fuzzy.
Am I? Is it alright now? Or is it still?
Yeah, I think it's better.
Okay, I don't know what happened there, but yeah, like I think one of the things is like mental stack is if you try to overload your mental stack with all these specific situations, you can't think fast enough for what's going to happen anyways. Like it's mental stack is huge in Melee. It's like even when people start playing like really specific tech chase situations, like this guy teched in place 3 times or whatever, and then you start overthinking like next time you're grabbing him and about the down throw, and then like Cheeks case, like
it's such a trap.
Like maybe he'll tech in again, and then he just like techs left, or maybe does it again, but like it doesn't matter because as long as he's got you thinking about what he's gonna do, and you're not just like strictly reacting, which is what you should be doing, then he's already starting to win that, even though he's getting down throwed over and over again.
Yeah, no.
If he's overloading your mental stack, that's all you can really think about or whatever, then that's where it gets really bad, where people like Armada are just not gonna start thinking about that. He's just gonna wait, and he's gonna do the right thing. Whatever you do, it doesn't matter because he's not
stimuli like the exact.
He's not like thinking about whatever you do. I guess he's just doing what he should do.
So like that exact situation. Whenever I like, because I've been like trying to play shit, whatever, doesn't matter. But like whenever that happens, like this guy's teched in place 3 times, I'm like, all right, is he just going to do it again? Like, is he just spamming it right now? Is he tilted? Like, you just start thinking, have you thought of a way to combat that? Like, because
So
you've
yeah,
been playing Sheik for so long, obviously.
so my stubbornness comes into play at this point too, because like at some point, if it, it matters whether it's going well or not. Because in the same case, like maybe he's taking it over and over again, taking a place, and is it beating me or is it not? And whether even that happens, I start doing different things. Because if it's beating me, I might get scared and just will start up smashing his tech in place and just not trying to beat tech away or tech left or right or whatever, and just trying to beat that. Or if it's working, then as much as I can, I'll try to get in their head with, maybe reading early can sometimes also be like you could be winning and then read early and then it's even like double because but yeah, playing Sheik it's so hard because at least what happens to me a lot of the time, and I think that'll be the first time you probably saw me play. This happened against SFAT at full bloom, where it's like you start getting in your own head about can you do this? Can you even react? And once you start second guessing yourself there, then you either have to, which is what I have a problem with, determining, okay, go for the read, don't even try to react, or which is the other thing that I always do, is be really stubborn and force yourself to react, which can also be really bad because you're like, because you start tunnel visioning so hard and you're like, okay, Fox hits the ground, I'm gonna, try to tech chase now, and it's like you're already a bit too late because you're, as I said, mental stack, you're focused so much on, I have to tech chase this because if I can't tech chase. You can't, and it's like
punish, like I got to get stocks against
yeah,
players, like every grab
like
has to be a kill. Yeah,
yeah, especially against better players, which I have a problem with, is like I'll do fine against players I think I'm okay against, but the second, and I've choked so many, like I can't even start thinking about it. The amount of sets I've choked against players like I had no right even coming close to, like the amount of ones I could have won or whatever that I've choked is like that's what always plays into my mind over and over again, and it's like once that happens, you get yourself into those situations, you gotta find a way to break out of it, whether it's like I said, by maybe even doubling down and really trying to react, or just playing the game you can play and not trying to do anything beyond that, because sometimes you just can't.
Yeah, I've definitely been there. So Spider is obviously our best player, right? And I've always gotten into game fives, and then something just happens where I'm just like, oh, like I hope I can just like not get grabbed because Marth's is gonna kill me. Like if he gets me like 4 times, like just gotta play really safe. And like the game, like you just start thinking, like if I get hit,
Thinking sucks, man.
Thinking is actually for dummies.
Dude, like it's such a trap because I feel like whenever I'm playing these amazing players, they're not thinking about what I'm thinking. They're just doing it. These
talk about that, yeah. Like they're also dog shit stupid, and that's why they're amazing.
Yeah, right. I mean, I get chain grabbed by Dreffin at a bar tournament like every week. That's my life, and it's like Dreffin's that type of player where it's like, dude, it's so frustrating sometimes. You're playing the same character. He's been playing that character since 2004, whatever, just chain grabbing everyone.
Yeah.
And like
it's just another day
it's like
for
a
him,
mix
man.
like this. And if you're a second too late, there goes your stock or whatever. And it's just like the way I explain the way say Dreffin plays is it's instinct. He's not thinking. He's just doing what he feels is right every single second, whether that's at 140% last stock or at 0% first stock. It's like it's literally just like an instinctual, okay, this is when I should spot dodge, this is when I should narrow out a shield or stay in shield an extra second. And it's like, like you said, once you start thinking too much, that player that's better than you or whatever is not doing that. He's just doing what I don't even know how to explain it, but yeah, they're just doing it. It's like an instinct.
Just say spot dodge, and like you sometimes go like, why spot dodge? Like when you interrupt what the hands are doing, it's always bad.
So we housed Dreffin.
I know where this story's going too.
Yeah. We housed Dreffin a while ago when we were in the Pomona house, maybe like 2.5 years ago, and it was for Gods and Gatekeepers, that Cali one day event, and I was really, really sick when he arrived. And I remember I came downstairs and I was like, oh, hi, Dreffin. I never met this guy before. Our house was just like almost anybody could just stay at our house. Like if you were at all known within the Smash community and we could at least count on you not being like a scumbag, we would house you. And so I walk downstairs and I introduce myself and we start playing. And I'm like, I'm really sick. And I remember he's just bodying me on day one. I'm probably winning like 1 in 5 or something, maybe even less, sneaking the occasional friendly. Anyway, I go back to bed, I wake up, I'm like 50% better the next day, come downstairs, play him again for a couple of hours. This time it's like 70-30 his way. I go to sleep. I wake up the next day. Next day it's like 50-50. I'm feeling way better. And then maybe this wasn't, maybe it was over like 3 days, but I remember on the last day I woke up feeling very fresh, feeling not sick anymore. Went downstairs and just farmed him for the whole day. Just like I couldn't miss anything, just hitting him for 80 every time. And I remember thinking like, I guess he's just an old school player. I guess he just takes 80 off a hit, and like he's kind of, and the whole time he's being that like jovial Dreffen, like he's not salty at all about these friendlies. He's like, great stock, man. I'm just sitting there like, this guy's the best. I love this guy. And he's just like encouraging me and stuff. And he's like, wow, you're playing great today, man. You feeling a lot better? And I'm like, just who is this man? Like, what is this guy? And then I didn't have a ticket to go to Gods and Gatekeepers. I think because I was sick or I forgot to register, or I don't know why, but I couldn't play in the tournament. I remember thinking like, well, if I was absolutely giving this man the work, like what's he gonna, he's gonna come like, what, like 45th or something. Like he's gonna be like middle of the pack kind of guy. And then he comes like top 8, or it was like 9th or 13th or something. He went on like
bracket or whatever.
Yeah, he went like, he just beats every person who wasn't in that like invitational bracket. And I remember watching that run and being like, I had this guy completely wrong. He was just like, I don't know what that was at the house. Maybe it was me legit farming him, but it doesn't matter because when it counts, this guy makes it happen. I remember watching him win set after set after set and just get off the stage with the same smile that he had when I was beating him in the living room. And he's just like, great games, man. Some other guy,
they're mental, so good.
Dude, just choke after choke. Everybody else who was playing him would just crumble, and he's just sitting there with a smile on his face, doing the 3rd spot dodge in a row before forward tilting them.
Crumbles. He's so confident in that 3rd spot dodge. That's the difference.
Fucking king.
Oh, God damn. Oh,
is it a chic thing? Is it a floaty thing?
No. It's just this guy.
Am I just totally boomed? Like, what's the go? I need answers. Donnie, I'm gonna start saying great stock, man, after every time you just cheese me.
But it won't be real for you. That's the thing.
It will be real, man. I'll make it.
He's genuine. He's genuine. If it was a good stock, he'll say it. Means it.
Yeah.
That is nice to me.
So you're still battling it out with him and Hanky Panky for sort of region supremacy?
Hanky, not so much anymore. He doesn't really play. Hanky only comes by when he can win a lot of money, and like I think I'm 4-1 against him the last 5 times we've played, so that stopped being a thing. And we only have like, honestly, like even the last couple months, we've only had 1 weekly in Columbus. Even though it's like we have 1 weekly, it gets like 40 some people, so it's not like a dead scene or anything. There's a lot of people.
That's pretty good.
But we do only have 1 weekly at a bar that's like $2 entry. That's just like how our scene has been for like 5+ years. Like we've never had tournaments that are really that,
I'm very
like
against the
that.
$2 entry. Like,
well, we had like,
just make it 5.
Had, like,
moving it down from 5, it's either free or it's 5 in my mind.
No, it's 5, but it's like 3 venue 2 entry. So it's
okay.
You're paying 5, but you're only getting the 2 or whatever it is. And we had like a place that opened up here called Game Arena. It's like, a esports arena or whatever.
Yep.
And they were doing Melee tournaments for a while, and then people just stopped showing up at all, and then they lowered the price, and then even less people showed up. So it's kind of, that's just how it happens. But
I've never understood that, where it's like, so in Victoria, we've had like a whole range of different tournaments that have come and gone, right? Like, but the ones that always stick out are the monthly ranking battles, the Rambats, which like everyone goes to, but I feel like the only reason they go to it is because of like the whole, like, how do I say this, Donnie? Like the whole feeling of the Rambat,
There's a certain culture behind
the tournament itself, right?
One local that's like much more based on hanging out than it is.
Like people, which is same with ours. It's at a bar, like people are just outside smoking afterwards or during it or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, even if it's a try hard tournament, because it's our only tournament, it's still, me and Dreffen are gonna sweat it out, chain grabbing each other, grand finals either way. That's just how it is. But
your face.
Otherwise everybody's having a good time, I guess. Other than me. Getting chain grabbed for the 40th time.
Are you the chain grabber or him?
Dude, I would not chain grab if not for Dreffen, because like I initially, like chain grabbing's kind of lame, it's like pretty simplistic or whatever. But the good sheiks in the Midwest, every single one of them chain grabs, and they won't like ask; they'll just do it.
That's a farmer's region.
Before face roll moved, he would chain grab as well. Well, he still does. Dreffen, same thing. I don't even know the other sheiks. My goddamn You know,
I love
all the
it.
Sheiks in Pittsburgh. Yeah,
I love it,
they're literally
personally.
all of them chain grab. So it's like if you come in, like even sometimes if you're playing against a player worse than you, and you're like, yeah, it's okay, we don't chain grab. Like you'll be less prepared to chain grab Dreffen when you need to. So you might as well chain grab that guy, and then next thing you know, you become the thing you hate and just chain grabbing every Sheik or whatever.
That guy needs to learn how it's going to be.
Dude, that's
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a big world out there, man. Dreffy's going to get you on the setup isolated, and you're not going to have a good time.
Yeah.
and that's exactly how it goes. And like, the first time I think I played somebody who was better than Dreffen at the chain grab was like Heartstrings, and this was like a while ago. And like Sheiks at 0%, they almost never go for chain grab because it's really hard. And he went for it every time and got it every time. And I was like, holy crap! Like at 0, I get chain grabbed, and then once you get to 20, it's just free. You just do it over and over again, and it's like an arms race even within just a free chain grab or whatever, because it's not really that free or whatever, but you gotta do it. You gotta be practiced and you have to go for it. Otherwise, you're just getting left in the dust by everybody else who's getting chain grabbed by Dreffen, because he's not gonna go easy on them if you go easy on someone else.
Yeah.
Fuck, what a
So-
grim existence.
Nothing's
that must
really
be.
free in Melee. Like, even the stuff
No.
that's super guaranteed, you can still drop it. I remember Face Roll versus Mewtwo King at DreamHack, Ohio?
I don't think we've had a
not
DreamHack.
Ohio, sorry.
Atlanta? I think it was Atlanta.
It was Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah, not Ohio, it was Colorado. And I remember talking to Face Roll after the set, and he was like, I was just not ready for the chain grabs, man. Like, he was, but he wasn't. Like, it seems like the better Sheik really just takes over the match with those grabs. Like, Mewtwo King he gets it on 0, he never misses it, and it seems like it was just always in his favor when he was getting these grabs. Like, Face Roll just
It
couldn't
gets
get
really
these grabs.
bad too. It's in your head too when you're getting chain grabbed and stuff. And like, however the Sheik gets it, like in Dreffen's case, he's spot dodging 3 times, and I think he's only going to spot dodge the second time. And it's like, then when you get grabbed, it feels so much worse or whatever.
It's honestly a glorified wobble at some points,
Yeah.
like depending on the stage, obviously, and like the percent. But like this guy, Heartstrings, is like getting it on you on 0. You're just like, fuck me dead, Like this
Yeah.
is nuts.
And like, at the same time, like the best feelings I've ever had in Melee are when Dreffen's at the ledge and he ledge dashes and spot dodges, because he does that. He just ledge dash, instant spot dodge, and I sit there and I wait for that. I just wait and then grab, and it's like, I'm so smart. And it's like, you only get like 30% or whatever he's going to DI off stage, whatever. But that's the, just like you have to, because if you don't, you might get grabbed. But if you're not, like, you have to be so confident in that moment that he's going to ledge dash spot dodge that if you're not 100% confident, he's going to somehow grab you, he's going to get away, and then you're the one getting chain grabbed. So it's like you have to like stick to it, and if you don't, like as you said, like those players are always sticking to what they do, what they're gonna do, that they're never hesitating. And if you hesitate, then you get chain grabbed. And if, like you said, Face Roll wasn't ready, well, Mewtwo King is just always ready for that. So
Yeah.
it's like,
They know
you
how
come
to
in
put the
80% ready,
responsibility
then
on you.
yeah, and like a lot of times, even if you're the worst player or whatever, you only lose off 1 hit, 2 hits in Melee, and that's just how it is. So if that 1 or 2 interactions that you weren't ready for, or like the chain grab in general, which is like 80% of that matchup, then that's just how it goes.
Yeah, it's so fucked. Like how
It is fucked.
until you watch it afterwards. Like I've watched sets where I'm just like, man, I played out of my mind, I think, and then I watch it back. I'm like, wow, I'm literally just shitting my pants live on stage.
Yeah.
The whole world to see, and I thought I was playing like a god. Huh?
Yeah, that's a classic.
You never
Melee.
realize like the little hesitations and shit. It's just like it's so hard to pull back mentally when you're just like, say you do go for that instinctual play and it doesn't work. But sometimes it's like a big crucial thing, like you go for a big up smash read, you're at 0, they're at like 110 or whatever, and you get shield grabbed and it's just Marth and you just die. Like that can just like it does absolutely own about 99% of players. Like that's it.
Yeah,
for me,
it takes your confidence away. That's huge.
It does, yeah, exactly. But then like best set of all time, 100% in my opinion. Mango versus Zane at Big House 8. Mango gets just clutchied on so hard. Like he just like, it's dreamland. Zane just hits him with the down throw, the D tilt, the fairs. You know how it goes doing these ones. It's just over. And then like Mango's just like, oh, and he just keeps playing. And then he just absolutely owns him the next game. And then like that close FD game where he loses, and like that's a lot, an FD game is so much. And he just drops it. Like it was so close. And Zane's doing these ones on him, and Mango's just like, oh. But then he just keeps doing exactly the same thing. Like these players get into this mentality where they can, like their instincts fail them and they choke it, but then they just rely on them still, and like are so concrete and adamant on it. It's just like it's insane to me.
That's the way to put it. It's like, yeah, it's like even
Oh,
if
your mic's going to be
even if
fucked.
you read, oh, I don't know what the hell's happened. Yeah, whatever. Like even if you read Dreffen's spot, like ledge dash spot dodge that one time, like he's not going to second guess if that's the right decision to do the next time, because sometimes it might be, because as you said, like, is he really going to ledge dash spot dodge again? And it's like, no way he's going to do that, and then he does it, and then you get grabbed. It's like, like you said with Mango, it's like he might not even be thinking about that. He's just confident in what he can do, and like he's not even thinking about, oh, I took Zane so close on FD, I can do this. He just knows he can do it from the start, which is like,
there's no need
I think the difference a lot of the time, because once you start really not even justifying, but like trying to explain to yourself why or how things went, then I think a lot of the times you get kind of stuck with thinking about it too simply and not just playing confidently, which is what you should do.
Like you were saying, a waste mental stack as well. Any thoughts that aren't like any unnecessary thoughts are just such a waste, honestly.
And I can't tune myself out a lot of the time. Like I'm that person where if I don't have headphones in, if somebody says something like game 5, like 4 seats down, and I hear it, I think about it. Like it's in my brain. It's not just like crowd noise that all meshes in. Like it's like that goes into my head and I think about it, and it's like, I mean that's just
where I need game sound, but also I like like at the same time that will fuck me as well.
Nothing's
I used to be like.
Oh, when
I used to be like one of those guys with the.
Sorry.
Got it.
I'll quickly go. When somebody in the crowd says something fucking dead wrong about the matchup in a game 5, and you're just sitting there thinking about it.
Yeah, he's just like this guy. Oh.
He's like, he just needs to nair more, man. Anyway.
Oh,
yeah,
it's the worst.
I think it's the latency. Sorry for interrupting.
No, all good. We just started speaking at the same time.
Yeah, what I was saying is like it's like the similar thing is what I used to do is have one of those like like audio setups where like you could plug in your like headphones and like to like hook up to the game audio and then like be fully immersed with just the headphones and stuff. It really helps. And then like you go to those 1 or 2 tournaments where it doesn't work or like something's off, and like at least this was the revelation I came to, because I mean like I still got the setup like right here. It's still in my desk, but like I don't ever use it because the one time you don't have it, and if you can't perform with it, then at least the way I felt was like I can't just be doing this like all the time, because it's not gonna always work. And if you're playing on big house stage, like even if you're a pools match or something, there might be 300 people heckling you anyways, and it's like even if you have your full headphone set up, whatever, you still hear that. And if you can't deal with that, like the pros can always deal with that. Mango, Zane, whoever, they're always ready to deal with that. Hungry Box is like standing up or whatever with no headphones on, and people are just like yelling at him or whatever, and he's like, it doesn't faze him whether or not he hears it, because he definitely hears it. You can't just like not have ears, like you hear it. But like that's at least the thing I can do, is like I have to be ready for that every time. And like although it's probably cost me sets here and there, I think it kind of builds that like fortitude in those sets to not tilt and not get that one guy all the way back there who's saying something really dumb about Marth Fox or whatever it is. Like the next time that happens, because it's gonna happen again, let's be honest, to not get phased or tilted by it, because the better players won't. And that's just how it is.
Just to like make sure like it's gonna happen. Like you said, it's 100% gonna happen. And like I don't even think it's a case of just like in one ear out the other with like players like HBox and all of that. Like people are just like screaming at him mid-set, fuck HBox, and he's just like, and then he just keeps playing. Like he's just like, okay, and then he just will keep playing and win the set anyway.
I think we've all had those times where we're so focused that you just don't hear it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's when things aren't going your way, or you're kind of out of the match already, and then you hear something like that. That's when it plays over in your head. Sometimes it's like someone could be screaming in your ear and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's always tilting. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I can switch my. I have like a snowball. I can switch to my webcam mic if that will stop cutting out.
No, I think it's just when you lean super far back.
Yeah, here, let me turn down my sensitivity. That should be better.
Okay, cool.
Scoot up a bit.
I did have a question. So you're in Columbus, you said? That's your...
Yeah, Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah. So how often do you travel to like these major, or at least not right now, but like when you were traveling, because you said you obviously just graduated. With all of that, were you traveling enough, do you feel? Do you ever feel like you're not putting in like enough work to like improve or anything like that? Like where do you feel like your, I don't know, like your like ends to meet like what you're putting in is, are you happy with what you're getting out with it, or do you want more?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be 100% honest. I never thought I was gonna be this good, and I only play because the game is fun. So like, I'm already like, say lucky to have gotten as good as I am. When, as I said earlier, I was just playing that play and just playing, and that's just like what I did. And I mean, I wouldn't. It's not like, as I said, I would just travel 3 hours, both ways in a single day to go to some random town in Indiana to play the same people that I played last month. But if that's what you got to do to play those people, then that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
And like, I never once felt like okay, yeah, I'm maybe a bit lazy as a melee player, and like, when people like will tweet about like how lazy certain players are about not, doing all this practice stuff, like, yeah, but like, did you see me driving 7 hours to Bloomington, Indiana to get farmed again? Like, that's what at least like the way I see it is like I've done that for so many years at this point that I'm never gonna feel like what I've done isn't earned fully. It's like yeah, everybody could be always doing more, right? Like that's the thing, is like if you always think about what could I be doing more, then sometimes you can never be, I guess, like okay with what you've done, which like a lot of the time, especially with like even you guys, like you guys are great players, like you can never feel that way, because if you do, then you start maybe feeling sorry for yourself, or you start maybe either getting complacent or over trying, and then you're not in a good mental place. You're like, okay, well, this is the one tournament I'm going to go to in this week, and I'm going to try so hard at it, and it's like that could just like ruin you emotionally, mentally, whatever it is. And it's like, everybody's trying, right? Like everybody's trying all the time. And it's like, however hard they try, that's for them to know and for them to, I guess, understand. But like, we're all out here trying, grinding, whatever. And it's like, everybody has a different way they grind. Like, as I said, I don't fully solo practice or whatever. Thank God I play Sheik and Marth. That's different. And so
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've gone to Pittsburgh to get I mean, those guys, I don't know if you know about Pittsburgh, they heckle like nothing
Yeah.
else. Like, holy crap. It's like, I've been going there since I was like a scrub, and they heckled me even worse back then. It's just like,
Jesus.
yeah, it's not, there's a VOD I should post somewhere, but it's just, like, like you're just this random guy, and like this was like back when like I wasn't even seated, and like they're still heckling me like an absurd
Heckling
amount,
a
and it's
random,
like,
yeah. That's
yeah,
fucked.
it's like, come
You
on,
just want
man.
to see someone
Yeah.
choke.
Yeah, but
They just want
they're
to see blood at that point.
I swear, one time I was just sitting there, like, playing friendlies or whatever, and something started happening on stream. Like, sometimes like people start seeing a close match, and then people like start flocking there.
Yeah.
This was Pittsburgh. I heard somebody start walking up, like, oh, we're yelling now. Like, that was what they were like. They didn't even think about the match or who was playing. They're like, okay, it's time to yell.
It's just like
Like,
fun.
they were
It's just
just,
like all
let's
the
go
old
over there.
fogies get to
Let's
go.
start, let's start yelling. Like, that's what,
Oh, we're yelling now.
kind of
That's
off of on
fucked.
your original question. I don't know if I answered it, but yeah, I
No,
mean,
no, no. You really did, and you made me
I
remember something I was gonna say, but you were gonna finish something.
Yeah, and I mean, like I've done, I'm a geography guy, so I've tracked the amount of like tournaments I've gone to, and like the amount of distance I've traveled. I gotta like fully publish it and everything to make it look nice, because I actually want to like show people. But like, yeah, like we really would every single weekend go, at least being in Columbus, Ohio. Like, not many people know anything about Columbus, but within a single day's drive, Columbus, Ohio is the place that's closest to the largest population in the U.S.
Yeah.
So like, within an 8 hour drive, like you have, Chicago, you have the East Coast, you have all of the Midwest and all those different scenes, Michigan, Indiana, Pittsburgh, whatever. So there's always something to do. And like, as I said, like our scene, even though we have one local, it's not dead. You will find people to go. And like even Dreffin's just driving by himself or whatever, just waking up and just driving to these tournaments. So like there's always opportunities to do that. So forever, 3-4 years, that's what we've all been doing, whoever's been trying.
No, I was gonna say with me when I started out, I remember being like that. Like I remember like getting on a train like when I was like a lot younger, and just like to go to these locals, and it would take like it'd be like 2 hours each way or whatever. And I just wouldn't like bat an eye at it, because it's just like, you want to play, like you would do anything to play, and then as you get better and like better, at least here in like Australia, and then eventually like the competition's kind of just like not there as much. Like you go there and you're just like, I'm gonna go to farm this local, like this like a very close to under 10% chance that I'm gonna lose at this local. So it's like, okay, do I still go to this? And I would still go, because I just loved playing and all of that. But then it got to the point where it was just like, once like other players stopped going because like they didn't want to go to these locals, because they're just sick. Oh, your mic's doing it again, unfortunately. Yeah, sorry, brother. It got to the point where like these other players, like the motivation just wasn't there. We would like go to like I remember going to one tournament, and like everyone's just like, oh, does anyone even want to play in tournament? And everyone's just like, nah, not really. And it's just like, oh, okay.
That's it.
All
Just
right,
go
yeah.
home.
It's just like, all right, let's just not do this then. And I'm like, what's happening? I'm like, to like because these people still play. But it's just like, does anyone want to get farmed today? And they're just like, no, I'm good. But, like, they just decided, like, no tournament because, like, it was obvious I was going to win or something like that. I was just so confused. Like, I was like, it was just so, like, weird to me. And I'm just like, when that, like, I don't give a fuck if I win the tournament or not. But if, like, the fire to play just isn't there from, like, the people around me, I would travel, like, any distance, Like, I don't give a fuck. But if it's just not there, it just feels so... I felt out of place almost, And when you go to like Genesis, right? And you know how you were saying like how you can crush your mental by like putting it all like on the line and like stuff like that. And it's like really just being like, this is it. This is the tournament I'm going to try my absolute hardest at. It's kind of, sometimes it feels impossible to not do that with tournaments like Genesis. Because it's like, this is it. This is the tournament where everyone around me is going to be like, I'm good. I actually don't want to play. Thank you.
That's the atmosphere, right? Everybody's trying.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just like such a rush almost to the point where it's just like, oh, like the hand starts shaking, you're just like I have to, this is my make or break,
Yeah.
And then that crushing mental afterwards is so fucked.
Of course,
like,
the stakes are a bit different for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I never had that. I mean, honestly, like I've been getting farmed by Dreffin since I started playing, so not too different.
Don't worry, I still get farmed by Spud at every fucking major we have. It's I've been there with you, brother.
Yeah.
At least I don't get chain grabbed in the Sheik, I've got that going for me.
Oh man, it's rough.
that like will to win and that spirit of, as you're saying, like people chain grabbing and people driving these locals and all of that, I think we really miss that and we really romanticize that about America. Not only are there more locals, but there are more people who are willing to say like, no, I'm going to keep playing and I'm going to keep competing. And it kind of ties back to those options that we were talking about where you back yourself and you're like, it's like a battle of wills when you come right down to it, right? It's like, this is my way and my way is going to win. And so many people have just given up on their way here. Like we just play them and we beat them and then that's it. Like they're just they're gone now. Like there's no one who's coming into the tournament who's thinking like, Dreffin spot dodged twice, but this time, like my way is going to win. I'm going to not figure it out, but my game is good enough to rise up and to make it happen. And really believe that. Right? Really believe that. Nobody here, as Josh was saying, like it got to the point where people just don't want to play him anymore. And we can't just get in the car and go to
That's fucked.
I think the Midwest is such a cool region because you guys just have a history of getting in the car and going someplace to play Melee. And everyone knows Midwest smashes because they get to everywhere.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I don't know why we do it. Honestly, I have literally no idea, but I'll do it again.
Dude, I admire that. It's just like, hey, you want to get in the car and just talk about nothing
we
for another
would
8
as
hours
well.
and then get yelled at in Pittsburgh? It's like, absolutely.
We really would do that if we were given the chance. And that adventure and that new... Toph once said that the cool thing about Melee is it gives you a chance to fight dragons as an adult. When you're a little kid, you go on these adventures in your brain. And the adventure now is like getting in the car and beating a player you've never beaten before, right? Like that's a weekend. That's a whole journey. Yeah. There's an arc to that. There's a conclusion. You either go home victorious or you go home with your head in your hands and you wait till next weekend. And
you're someone else's dragon, right? At some point, that's how it happened too.
Yeah, and that's okay. It's okay to be somebody else's dragon.
It's great analogy. Right?
We would love to be somebody else. It just feels like there's no dragon hunters here anymore.
Yeah.
The second they put me on that goddamn list, holy crap! People really want
of listed dragons. Are you top 100?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, well, I shouldn't say. I think. 72.
Yeah.
I think I'm still there unless they change it overnight.
I got 101 the year before.
I remember that. That's what I was gonna ask. Yeah. 101's such a like. Don't tell me that, man. Why would you tell me that?
They also released it like it was really funny because and I've talked about this before, but it's like other people sometimes hype up your own expectations, right? Like, even this ranking season where I was like pretty sure I was going to be on top 100, I just couldn't tell myself that because people would just ask like, "Yo, you think you're gonna be top 100 this year?" It's like, "Yo, you're the 5th person who asked me at this tournament in Indiana. Like, who even are you? Why are you asking me this? Like, I don't want to think about this right now."
Everyone just gets so hype on that kind of stuff. It's like, bro. It's like, hey man, you gonna win today, bro? Are you gonna win?
Oh,
and you're like, I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna try.
I remember
answer every time.
People were like, "Oh yeah, I put you at like between 80 and 70 on my top 100 ballot." I'm just like 5 different people told me this. I'm just like, so am I a shoo-in? Is that what that means? And then like,
all the same
like
stuff,
sitting
man.
there, just like hands in the armchair, just like fucking if I'm not on this. And then I just didn't make it. And I'm like, oh okay. I'm just like, it's just so thinking you're gonna make it and then not making it is so dog shit.
And setting it up as a goal as well is such a.
Oh, you can't do that. Yeah,
I definitely did that. My whole year in America, I was like, I'm going to go to these majors, and my goal is to get top 100. I want to be the first Australian player to get it, because this was before Spud got it. And I choked so many times. I had a set with McCain in Texas that was like right down to the wire FD, and I just lost like in a really close game. Like I think that one might have got, it would have maybe at least helped me got there, because he was like 40 or 30 or something. But like every time it would be close. I think having that goal in mind is really bad. Same as people who aim to be like 10th. People will be like, yeah, I think I can make Vic PR if I practice a lot. I'm like, dude, just focus on playing good Melee and you can beat anybody. Don't focus on like beating these people who are largely pretty bad in the grand scheme. Like, don't set yourself this goal that's like, it's so capped, you know? Like, I should be thinking about how I'm going to beat the best players and how I'm going to hang with that level of gameplay, not just how I'm going to like cheese out 3 wins and then be able to make it onto this list.
Yeah.
It's going to make you a better player, right? Like, being on that list, like whether or not 3 different balloters put you at 90 or whatever and it would have bumped you up, it's not going to make you a better player. You're as good as you are. It's like,
exactly.
Yeah, I definitely felt that like when I went there, I was just at this local and I just like smoked a few of like the SoCal guys. I was just like, oh, okay, like these guys are top 100. And I'm like, all right, I have to like really rethink like what my goal is with this game. It's just like, I don't want to make it on some like arbitrary bias list. Like, it doesn't, this list doesn't, this number isn't exactly how good I am. It's nice to be recognized and it's definitely helpful, but just like, it's not healthy to think about it like that. It's not healthy to make this the end game goal. Like, and then if you start really thinking like, what is like the end game goal? And then that's when it gets scary and you stop thinking. But yeah,
I will say, like, I think I mentioned this earlier, but like, I never thought I was going to be good. I mean, I don't know if people always think they're going to be like the number 1 player in the world or whatever, but I've literally never once had like a single goal, which is kind of weird because it's like mostly aimless, but like at least for me, my passion for the game drives my goals, which don't exist. So it like doesn't matter. Like, I never once thought, yes, I want to be on OSU Melee PR. I want to be on the state PR. I want to be on top 100. You just do it. Yeah. And then you can get there or you might not. You know, it's just how it goes.
I think that's a really powerful way to play.
Yeah, it's like, definitely really good.
But and I'm sure this has happened to a lot of players, like other people's expectations, that's what a lot of times gets to me. And it's like these people that actually care about how I do. It's not just like some random in Indiana is telling me, you know, do you think you're going to make it or whatever? It's like my good friends, you know, it's like the people I travel to. And it's like that starts to get in your own head too, because they are hyping you up in a certain way that you might not be able to live up to. But like, you know, that's not your responsibility at the end of the day. It's just, you just play, right?
Yeah.
But that I was going to say earlier.
Oh, you go.
I was going to say earlier, when you asked about the earlier, like top 100 thing, like what really got into my mind was like the one before, like when I got 101, they released that I got 101, like when they released 70, which was weird. Like normally they release like 105 to 100, like, and then they released the list. But like it was like, you know, they did like 90 and I was like, okay, maybe I'm down here, right? Yeah. And I was like 80 and I was like, oh, maybe I'm just not on it. And it hit 70, I'm like, oh, I'm just not on it. And then they come out with 101 and I'm like, I'll take it. It was funny at that point. It's like a relief almost, because like you're like, oh dude, I'll take it. Yeah. It's kind of funny, but at the same time,
in the 70s.
And it's never the end of the story, right? Like you're gonna keep playing Melee regardless of if you got 97 or 101 that year. Yeah. And so I mean, as long as you don't care about the clout thing, then it's just all it's gonna change is kids at the local, instead of going, he made it, they're gonna be like, oh, bad luck, man. But it doesn't matter at all. Like those people are just speculating on something that has no impact on them and has even less impact on them than it does on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember no, I don't really remember. I truly think that like the kids who scream the loudest after getting owned are the ones that just get remembered like for that being owned. Like everyone here will think of like top 10 curve rage moments at Genesis 7. You know what I mean? It's just like that's what will stick like in your mind. It won't be like what was his biggest win or anything like that. It'll be like when would like what was his biggest like spike? I remember his double spike still to this day. That's one of my
At
most
Esports
favorite.
Arena.
Yeah,
And as you said, Curve, the thing in Big House where he raged against somebody, it was the only thing that popped into my head when he said that
yeah,
name.
exactly. Like and then like players who just like take it, like they put them all this pressure on themselves, and like that's kind of like all they're gonna like really be remembered like by the community as is just like if they just like have like an outburst or something on social media, just like fuck this Marth who fucking beat me, like he's dog shit, like I'll come back next week, and then they don't come back next week. It's just like, hey, remember when that idiot said he'd come back next week and like he didn't do it? Like there's just so many like players out there who aren't talked about who've had the same amount of heartbreak who are just silent.
If you just play the game, then no one can ever really take anything away from you. If
Exactly.
your goal is there
huge.
then like I would not have been caught dead saying this 2 years ago, but if your goal is to go somewhere and have fun, you are so much more powerful than someone whose goal is to go there, and it's like very contingent on a placement, or it's very contingent on. And I used to be like, well, if you're having fun, how can you be focused on winning? But I've just, and that was when I was a bit, I think, insecure in myself as a competitive person. Like, if I stop trying to compete, will I still be competitive? And I think the answer is yes. Having fun for me, winning is involved in that, and trying my best and trying to outsmart people. That's all involved in having fun for me. I'm not trying to just be like, oh, okay, having fun isn't just like items on, don't care if I win kind of thing. Like,
yeah. No, I was definitely gonna say because like
just like enjoying it, and if you're enjoying it, no one can beat you.
yeah, no, when you were saying like you didn't really have like a goal, that is like when I felt like I was rapidly improving the most, is when I was just like, I'm gonna go to this local. I'm like, oh, I just cannot wait to get fucked. I cannot wait to learn what's gonna come next. Like, and then it's just like you take something away from it, and you're like, this is awesome. And now when it's at the point where it's just like, if I go to this local and I lose, I'm gonna be really sad, but I'm gonna go to the local anyway. Like the whole like mentality like builds. It's like obviously like building blocks. I feel like I'm really starting to like, because we talked to a few players, right, about like mentality, and like in my own time I've talked to players. I'm really starting to understand that like it's super important to know that you can take a few steps back and just regress with your mentality and just like rebuild, because like how I think when I'm at these major tournaments is like I have to prove how good I am for everyone at home. Everyone's really thinking about like how well like they think I'm good, like I have to beat these players. I have to make top 64 at Genesis. It's just like, fuck me. Like, how are you supposed to play?
A lot, yeah.
This guy's next to you is just like, it's just another major.
Just pressing an A button like this. It's like,
dude, I've already
no
got
thoughts.
He's sitting there with his bug catcher outfit on. He's ready to wave dash grab.
That's so funny.
Yeah, dude.
They do like they catch bugs.
He's in the group chat just ready to post like, I just beat some fox, like some Australian fox, like, and his friend's like, haha, wobble, haha.
It's like, haha, prez
the
but yeah, like it's just one of those things where I think once mentality like gets to a certain point, like you kind of have to just like let it go, because I like the last thing I really want to be known for is the guy who's just like really angry at the setup,
I think
like just
because
take the element.
it's not fun.
I think there's fundamentals with mentality. People get into like, and when this happens, you need to start thinking this, and if you're not thinking this, then it's bad mentality. But I think it just comes from like core values of have fun, play to learn, and realize that no moment is the last moment. And hopefully those things will free you from choking. If you're having fun and you're realizing like, this is exciting and it's close, but it's not going to be the last time I'm close with a good player.
And that's the problem with having those goals, is like once you achieve that goal, like maybe if your goal was beating Spud, you beat Spud that one time, and it's like, did you do it? Is that like it? Like, then what? And it's like the next week if you lose, and then you're like, oh, did I go backwards behind my goal? Do I have to reset the same goal? Is it like, and it's like, no, it's maybe you might have been playing bad. It doesn't matter. It's like you just move on. You just keep playing, and it's if you don't, then like you said, you can.
That's a really interesting way to think about it, because it's just like so many people have like And like Donnie says it to me every time I go to America. He's like, "What are you gonna do? Like, what are you happy with?" And I'm like, winning, I guess." He's like, "Then what?"
What's
He's
the
like, "Even if
difference
you do the
between
ultimate goal."
64th and 32nd, really? Like,
Yeah,
what changes when you come home if that number's different?
I'm still gonna think I'm dog shit in my current mentality, no matter what I place. Like, I'll be like, "Yes, I came." Like, even if I hit top 16, I'm like, I could have made top 8. I make top 8. It's like, fuck, man. I really felt like I could have pushed through and like won the whole thing. Like, because then you always like, well, if I'm here, I could be here. But if
Yeah,
I'm
you always want more, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Just as long
Yeah,
as you're not
it's
hard on
okay.
yourself for it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Like, it's all right to always want more and like always want to take that next step, but don't like beat yourself up for being on your current step.
Mm.
And that's something I definitely am currently doing, which is
And
really
this happened to me at Big House, where I like had to kind of realize this, because I did like decently well at Big House. I like beat Bananas and Toussaint, and I got to Rishi, right, and I was up and everything, and it was game 5 last time. He's at like literally 140, 150, and I'm at like 7%, and I fuck it, I lose, right, and 3 weeks later, the TO, who I think this is okay now to say, but like was like, "Yo, don't tell anyone," but it was all Slippy recorded because it wasn't supposed to be. And so he sent me my Slippy file of that set, and I rewatched it, and I was like, "Holy crap!" Like I literally could have had this 4 or 5 times, but that wouldn't have made me a better player. To get that single fair that would have solidified that set, maybe would have made me way happier then. And this was before the top 100 came out. Maybe would have dropped me 3 spots, but that single fair doesn't make me a better player. It might make me think I'm a better player, which is a trap in and of itself, but in that moment, you don't become better just for hitting that one thing.
Exactly.
It's not like you become a whole different player. Maybe to other people you are because you beat Rishi and Bananas and Toussaint, like whatever. Like that's what other people think of you. But like I know that now, knowing what I know, I could have done that. I could have beaten him then and there, and I could maybe do it now. It doesn't. That's not the point. The whole point is like not thinking that you've done it just because you could have hit that fair and gotten 25th instead of 33rd, which is marginally better or whatever. But like, yeah. Like, if you think 25th is what I want, then...
And you can't buy into other people's narrative of how good you are either. Like, that's
exactly.
what we were talking about earlier. It's that confidence in yourself to be able to play those options. Like, when it comes down to it, it's you and the other guy. And if he's confident in his game plan and he's confident in the options that are going to come naturally to him, then if you're thinking about, like, ooh, do I deserve to be here? Like, this guy's 31st and I'm 52nd. Like, and that's just all shit that other people have made up. That has
nobody else is holding the controller.
Yeah,
it's just you.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's not going to come, whether you hit that forward air and people think you're a god or you miss it and everyone thinks you're not. The fact is, like, you got to that position where it was that close and 99% of the job was done, and you could do that again at any moment.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also important not to beat yourself up for that. Like all these people are seeing is on a piece of paper, it says 3-2. Doesn't matter which way that 3-2 is.
I'm gonna watch that set. It's got like it's uploaded on YouTube. It's probably got like 12 views or something. Honestly, it's a very close set, and nobody watch it. I really fucked it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like.
Rishi, did you say? Oh.
If you watch that last game, you will.
We'll watch it later.
Nah, it's always good to laugh at yourself sometimes too.
I think you got to.
Dane actually rewatches his sets immediately after losing, which is very godlike. There's some sets I can never open up ever again.
Because
too long.
In your brain, it's always sometimes worse, but then when you see it and you're like, oh, it was actually that bad. It's like you start it's like, oh, it wasn't that bad in my brain. It was that bad in real life too. It was that bad in both.
On the setup too.
Oh, I just even thinking about it.
We're all now thinking about it. Shit.
There's some wounds who like I like see the thumbnail and I'm like, oh.
And that's like our favorite heroes in this game, right? Like the Mangos and the Armadas and the Leffins, they just have the shortest memory. Like they take the 4-stock, and I'm sure there's VODs that they all feel the same way about, but they come back and they're not mentally being that bitch. They just come back, like the 4-stock happens, they're like, all right. And it's because they've got faith in their own ability to do that back. I think once you lose faith in like your punish game or your chain grab or your way to get damage, that's when the damage, when it starts piling up on the other end, gets like scary.
Yeah, I think you said, Donnie, like they're all delusional. Like
everyone's delusional,
and then Mango's still saying, "Hee, I'm the best."
Yeah, you have to think that. You have to think that.
Yeah, but like I can't like I wouldn't be able to just say like, oh yeah, like I feel like I'm the best.
Yeah.
Like I come from like a raw place of true belief. It's just fake, and like reciting fake mantras to yourself like is not. It's just nonsense. Like you have to really believe what you're saying.
Yeah, I think there's different. I think the like optimal way to be thinking is always changing, and that's a way to be thinking when you're gearing yourself up to win a trophy. But I think even Mango goes home and he's like, he even says like it's time to put the ego to rest. Like I need to get back to learning, and he's like so self-aware about it.
And you have to be. If you're not, you're going to get left behind a lot of the time. Like, because you've got 60 other people who aren't thinking like that coming after you.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of the game we play. And, like, every time there's this new fox you've never heard of who's the nicest, cleanest fox you've ever seen in your life.
The fox factory's been crazy recently, man.
Yeah.
As a Sheik, you've got to deal with it somehow. Oh, my God,
dude,
those guys.
I don't fucking feel envy you at all. I have no envy.
Do you
Like,
just not just play
It's so
Marth?
hard, I swear. I still, like, the problem is I play Sheik 90% of my games, right? Like,
yeah, that's what I thought.
Against pretty much Sheik Falco is my favorite matchup. So even in that matchup, I don't play Marth. It's like just Fox sometimes. So like I never know how good my Marth is going to play or how ready I am to play this certain Fox with my Marth or maybe my Sheik. So like Null's right. I just pick randomly. It's just how it goes. I literally sometimes I'm just like, well, Marth time. And it's
sometimes your mental just said like it's what you're feeling, man. For sure.
Yeah.
Like, if you're feeling Marth, like pick Marth. Like it's having a secondary seems like one of the hardest things in Melee, because you're always going to be thinking like, oh, what if I?
You got to be
picked Marth?
confident with him
I've done it
in
so
the back
often.
pocket.
It'll get you. Like for
there
sure.
was so I this was like one of the
I'll be 2 minutes. You guys.
one of the last tournaments I like did well at before all the coronavirus stuff was what is it called? Kilroy 5, which was in Indiana, right?
Yeah.
And in winners, I get washed by Slox, and then I switch to Marth, and I just beat him, right? He switches to Sheik. He's like clearly tilted. I beat him. Like just by switching to Marth, I beat his Sheik, I beat his Fox over and over, and I win, right?
Yep.
Grand finals, it's me and Zamu, and I do the complete opposite thing. And I play Marth, I get washed, I go Sheik, I bring it reverse 3-0 back. And I'm just sitting there afterwards like, how did I know to go Sheik game 3 and go Marth game 3 in the other one? Like, why did I do that? And like, I still don't know. And like, there's no, like in a different world, I would have just maybe stayed Marth or switched to Sheik. I really don't know.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a Fox. They both play Fox. That's, it's the same character. So like, but like for me, I what I started to do is start thinking about what options am I being beat, or like the way I'm getting beat. Like, are they trading with me a lot? Or am I being so stubborn with Sheik trying to trade that I could just outspace them with Marth and just win these neutral interactions over and over again? And even if my punish game isn't as crisp, I'm not letting them get to me, which is like huge with Marth. You just, swat them away, get the hell away from me over and over again. Where like, maybe it works against one Fox and not the other. And it's, like Josh was saying, like, I don't know how that works either. Like, I literally just, it's almost random. Like, you just do it sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I guess when you're down 2-0 as well, there's like the thought of changing something up, just seeing what.
Oh yeah, because a lot of the other thing I've thought about is like Noel says, like he has no idea what to prepare for, and that's huge. It's like I don't know whether I should play Sheik or Marth, but they don't know what I'm gonna play either, and they don't know how I'm gonna play because, most people see me as a Sheik, maybe a Marth sometimes, and it's like, okay, I guess even Ice Climbers, I would sometimes play Sheik, sometimes play Marth. I don't know why. Now I just play Marth because that's just a better decision overall. But like,
yeah,
it's such a like. Especially playing Sheik and Marth, it's like for Puff or something. It's like Marth might be better, but the way you play Marth Puff is very different than the way you play Sheik Puff, and that might not suit how I play, which is huge as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a weird thing because there's the argument for, they're going to be warmed up on their main while you swap off to another character. So it's kind of another battle of wills where it's like you're going to change character and it's like this is going to work, and they're thinking no, I'm already warmed up, like that first few moments I feel when somebody changes character is huge. Like
the Fox will then miss that up throw up air that they always hit on Sheik, but the first time you fair them with Marth and all of their confidence is gone.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes that's literally all it takes. You lose that neutral interaction, you get up throwed, and I'm Marth, I'm spamming fair, C-stick, like I don't even think about it, you just do it sometimes. And like you get that grab and you're like, oh, now they're the ones who are just losing it.
Yeah. Because I'm like in quarantine. I'm like, all right, secondary time. Let's get something
Sheik
up
time.
and running.
Get the Sheik going.
the Jeek is gonna die. The Jeek is just I can't do it, dude. There's too.
Sheik is
she's just too stressful, man. She's such a fucking. She's just a headache.
You have to play so close. I feel like a lot of the time with Sheik that it's like you can't just completely run around. You have like your fair, like every one of your moves has to like be so close, and you have to like
So
know
precise.
exactly where they.
But don't get shined. Don't get shined or you're dead.
Oh, you better not get held down either, because that's also getting shined.
Yeah.
That's.
I was sick of getting held down on, and I was just like, I feel like there's something about like hitting like my opponent in the air, like literally it feels like any other character in the game, and then probably dying. But then it's Sheik. It's just like, God, don't hit me back. Like at low percent, like they just jump, and I'm just like, but don't, please. I'm like, I'm scared. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I think that's one of the
like,
things I like least about Marth is that he just SDIs into you and then hits you, and it's like, can you just take the hit, please?
Yeah, and
look, I take the hit enough as Sheik that sometimes it's okay for me to not take the hit as Marth. I play my.
Yeah, you've earned it. No, but you've earned it. These guys haven't, man. They just they just came out of the womb just like ready to kill me off my own hits. You know, it's just not fair.
And I don't know why I don't just completely switch to Marth and like, you know, because sometimes like you pick Marth on the character select screen against the Fox and you've already won. Like it doesn't matter whether you play good or whether they play. Like they just tilt and it's over. Like you're playing Marth and you down tilt them twice and they're like, God damn it.
Yeah, it's fucking hard not to, man. Come on. Come on.
I mean, look, I understand. I get it.
To be fair,
but
like if you die too early stocks to that down tilt, it probably is over. Like you probably can bring it back, but maybe not. Like most likely.
Yeah.
Like, that's.
I'm saying it's like I don't even have to get the down tilt sometimes. It like doesn't even matter.
They down tilt
You
themselves.
just have to get the cursor over the little mans, and it's.
Leffen has won that matchup for me. You know what I'm saying? Like Leffen's won that matchup for me sometimes.
Yeah, that's so true.
It changes per player too, like whether they really, you know, think about how much Marth is broken or whatever. I know you guys talk about that a lot, but like that's just like it actually changes so much.
I go through phases where I'm like, he's not that bad, and then I'll see something and I'm like, this is worse than I ever imagined.
The only time you go through phases that he's not that bad is if no one's immediately playing Marth against him.
Yeah, I played Marth against him in a while. Don't know how it feels like.
The clips, there's this one classic clip that me and Josh were always watching where it's like, what should this guy have done here? And it's Emerald City, Spud versus Fat Goku. And Fat Goku plays like a genius. Yeah, Spud always beats him. Spud's never lost a tournament match to SFAT, by the way. He's like 6 or 9-0.
Yeah, he's 6-0 against him. Not sets,
just games. So it's on Battlefield, right? And Spud is like in the corner, like trying to look for a way out of the corner, and Fat Goku's like got him cornered, finally catches him dashing forward and gets the grab after like great neutral, great everything. Up throws him, goes for the up air, gets SDI forward air grabbed and just killed. And it's like, what should he have done? Like, and we've been over
single hit.
Just single hit.
But when he's on like 20%,
20%,
you can't actually launch fast enough to get. You can't because he's too low. You know, he's not in enough.
Yeah, he's in a weird spot.
So,
and even if you like try to nair, he could go up or he could go slightly out. Like when you do the nair or whatever, I think you can't be confident that you're going to hit him twice every time or even once.
A lot of people were telling us like, what's the thing to do here, and they're like back air. But because he's so low, he can actually SDI the back air into you and probably still forward air you. He probably won't kill you because the up air obviously leaves you in a worse spot.
Yeah.
And with less hit stun, with like less knockback as well. But just thinking about the advantage, like you get this big advantage, and it's like you should probably just take your 20 and get back to center, man.
Yeah, which is so hard to do sometimes, right? To be like, okay, time to play neutral again against this character that can kill me in one hit.
Yeah.
And I have to hit him 4 times, and it's like, but that's what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that
it's rough.
The paradox is like the refusal to just accept that is what makes it worse.
Yeah. It's
like,
and how does it get here every time, man? By the way,
I think
it doesn't matter the guest, man.
I think I just need to like just accept that. That's
Marth
just you just got
really does live rent free in Fox Mains' head.
He does, man. He really does. But that's interesting. I guess even having the threat that you can pick Marth against some guys probably worries them, because even if they're beating you a Sheik, they're thinking, when's it coming?
Oh, he might switch. Yeah, with counter picks, I love it. Sometimes I'll just ban like Stadium, and they won't go FD, or sometimes they will, and it doesn't matter because they're making the decision, and I'm just reacting. You know, if it's a Fox main and he lets me go FD, I go Marth. If he doesn't, then he's no longer playing on Pokemon, and he can't play on FD because he's afraid of my Marth.
Yeah.
So he has to take my Sheik to like, you know, Yoshi's or, you know, a stage not as bad as either of those, which is sometimes, you know, just as good. It's the same thing. It's like that. And sometimes I don't even think about it. I just am playing. And like going into a set, sometimes even on FD, I'd be like, yeah, I'm playing all Sheik, but the other player doesn't know that. It's not like I'm going to tell him. So
Yeah,
he just doesn't.
the whole threat of the counter pick is huge.
So he frees up these stages for your Sheik.
Yeah, it helps a lot. And I mean, a lot of it was like, I remember watching Music King. I was like, he really does just play the stages. He doesn't even like play the matchup sometimes. He's literally playing stages. Oh, Dreamland, that's Sheik. FD, that's Marth. It's as simple as that. And then when other people then take his, then see that, see that, and then you can also bait them with that. They're like, oh, maybe I'll ban that, and then I can switch, and then you're still playing Sheik or something. And it's, as I said, it's like even mental stack and counterpick. You start making people second guess themselves even there.
Yeah.
And
no, it's tricky. Secondary is definitely busted. That's for sure. It's
hard to do, but yeah, it's still busted.
Yeah, it's definitely really tricky. Like, I feel like playing like the most like coverage is probably Sheik Marth, right? Like probably that, or maybe Fox Marth. I think Fox Marth is probably the most coverage.
Yeah, it's got to be Fox Marth, or maybe like even like Sheik Fox or something.
Sheik Fox, I've been thinking about.
I think like
Sheik Fox. Oh yeah,
because
Marth. Yeah.
Sheik's dumpsters bad characters, pretty bad. Like you could still lose as Fox against a lot of bad characters, but Sheik can still kind of beat them. And like I don't think Sheik Puff is like I think pretty bad as well as Sheik. Like especially if playing against these Puffs that are really good.
Yeah.
Fox does better, and then otherwise, like you said, Marth. Like if your Sheik is as good as your Fox, then you might as well play Sheik and not Fox against a Marth. Because it's the same thing. It's like like you guys hate when you have to play Fox Marth, but those Marths hate when I pick Sheik.
Yeah,
oh god, they hate it so much. And it's so nice having them hate that.
The characters definitely has like
but I wouldn't give
weird
to live
matchups.
In your shoes, brother.
The way I always describe it is it's kind of like Fox Sheik, where it's doable, but the onus is on Sheik not to fuck up, right?
Yeah.
It's the same as Fox Marth, where it's like Fox is the one being constantly tested. And Marth is like fade back forward air, haha, very low risk, very high reward. I feel like get up shine is the same. It's just like if this guy misses something that's really hard to do, he just dies. And I didn't really do anything. I just tested him.
Yeah.
And of course, all these matchups change at so many different like levels of play as well. Like if that's what I think. Like whenever people talk about matchups or tiers or whatever, I think it's really important to think about the level of play that's being played at.
Yeah.
I think like even something like Marth Sheik, like I think it's almost like a linear curve. Like the better both players are, the better it is for Marth. But like it's so hard to punish Sheik at like mid to low levels as Marth, whereas Sheik just down throw fair over and over again. It's so easy. You just do it over. And it's like Marth will up throw a Sheik and get nothing. They just get nothing over and over again. And then, you don't see Zane getting nothing. He juggles Plup for a minute and a half before he comes down. It's like even that matchup fundamentally changes in like the punishes you normally get and stuff at like, different levels of play.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's like it's stuff with like arms attacking. It's just like at mid to low level, it's just like this thing's busted, man. I kick him, he doesn't go anywhere. But then like I see an arms attack at 90, and I'm like, oh, this guy really just wants to kill himself real quick. Nice. Like because you've seen it so many times. It's just like these options just like vary depending on the level. Like up throw, like when I'm playing Sheik, like against like a Marth secondary or like non-spud player, I'm just like I'm free. If they up throw me, I'm out. See you later. Because they just don't know how to do it. And like they don't.
Yeah, and you're right. They don't. There's a lot of the time they really don't.
Yeah, I mean it's hard, but that's not. It's not really an excuse, almost. Like.
Yeah, you can't ever have an excuse, but like that's just how it is.
Yeah, it's definitely just tricky. Ugh.
Yeah, I remember when I first started playing Melee, I thought Sheik was just incredibly busted, and now my opinion of Sheik has changed. I think Sheik's like probably the fairest character in the game. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember starting out and just being like, the dash attack's so good. How do I edgeguard this character? I couldn't.
She's invincible.
Yeah, I couldn't edgeguard it at all. I didn't understand. And people would just tell me, just tap up from the ledge. And I was like, I'm tapping up from the ledge, man. I'd get hit, or like I wouldn't do it, I just couldn't get around it. And now it's like, it's so obvious.
Yeah, it's poor Sheik, man. She's just so hated. But.
And I guess.
Because the characters that lose to Sheik really hate Sheik. And the characters that beat Sheik are like 3 of them, and they're kind of like, whatever.
I feel like really sick and twisted for really just enjoying just chain grabbing the shit out of low tiers.
Yeah, low tiers
like,
get out.
I see Pikachu, and I'm just like, hit him with the kick, just do it over and over again.
Dude, I
Just
love
hate
chain grabbing those characters.
Oh my god, especially as a Fox player, dude. It's just like, this can't just fucking up airs me at 3%. I'm like, well, there I go. You know, I'm dead. But now it's just like big damage.
You ever play against a Yoshi as Sheik, and like Yoshi's giant ass character. He's so easy to chain grab, right?
Yeah.
So, like they have to like no DI and like get straight up to like jump out, right? Thing is, like certain percents, so like maybe 15-20%, they try to jump out, and you hit them with the 3 hits of up smash. You hit them both side hits and the tipper, right?
Both and side hits, you can hit him?
Yeah. You hit them, like, because Yoshi's huge, and he's kind of false, so, like, you literally break his armor, right? So, initially, he tries to jump, you break his armor, he's at, like, 60 at this point, because somehow up smash does 45% or whatever, and then you just smack him off stage, and he's got no jump. It's the funniest shit ever. You just hit him, and he's just dead, and you just smack him, and he's, like, drifting back in. You could just, like, stay on up tilt or F tilt. It, like, doesn't matter. Yeah. You just keep pushing him off stage. It, like, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. I'm just a sick, twisted fuck for hating on low tiers. They're just... I don't know. They're just...
Yeah.
Something has to be wrong with you if you're just, like, locking a low tier and just, like, your only goal in life is to just gimp this poor Fox.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
like
They've loaded up to play against a Fox. They're so ready to do the thing that they've been practicing and like to have their own Axe versus Silent Wolf moment. They're like, I'm a low tier hero, and then you pick Sheik and you just like, this game is going to be very
she's like, sorry about that.
Very
what did you say
grueling
before?
for you. Oh,
I say you play Donkey Kong, right? Yeah, in there.
Do we have another topic? I feel like we're moving a bit. I mean,
Look, all I'm gonna say is when I first got on the OSU Melee PR, the 2 characters I played were Fox and Donkey Kong, and those are the 2 mains I had the first time I got
Donkey
on
Kong's
the
a
PR.
fucking king.
It's so funny, dude.
Yeah, it is. You just like keep headbutting the double jumping spacey, and they just hate it.
yeah, you catch the jump and that's just it.
You can see the bonk, 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 big punch coming in real. Oh man, take me back. What I wouldn't give to play that man's right now. Oh man. I did have a question though. So you've probably talked about it a few times, but like the whole origin of your tag and all of that, because I have a few, like a few of my mates, who are like pretty like politically savvy and all of that, and they're like pretty big fans of you. Like one of them was in the chat before, just said hi or whatever and left. But for those who don't know, because I'm still pretty like not familiar with it. Like what is the origin of your tag?
I mean, like as I said, I'm a Palestinian citizen, so a lot of the stuff that I've had to deal with, even as you know, I've gone there a lot of the time. It's like it becomes normalized at some point to myself. Like, you know, as a kid, like I was there during the second Intifada, and it's like, you know, like why do I have to wait 10 hours to cross into my own country's border?
Yeah.
And like literally the lowest city on earth, it's like 50 degrees Celsius. It fucking sucks, and we're there for 10 hours. Like why? Like you start asking yourself these questions, and it's like there's no real good answer. Like I'm being not allowed in my own country, all this other stuff. Like, you know, I can't vote in certain elections. I can't do certain things. I can't go to, you know, this like city that's been the most important city for my people for thousands of years, etc. And it's like you see these things even start to get worse, like within your own time frame. Like when you first start to become politically savvy about a certain issue, it's like, oh, that's bad, and then you see it getting worse, and you're like, oh, like this isn't getting any better. This is going one direction. It's like, you know, especially being Palestinian, it's like I felt like I had to do something, I guess.
Yeah.
But it didn't come from that place originally. It just, I remember, this might sound, I think I've explained this before, but it might sound like a really dumb reason to have switched my tag. But there was a Twitter hashtag, it's like explain your tag or whatever, right? And this was like April of 2016. And, you know, I saw people's answers and I saw all this, and my tag was Millhouse at that point, which was Richard Nixon's middle name, which I thought was really funny. I don't like Richard Nixon. I just thought that his middle name being Millhouse was really funny.
That is really
Very
funny.
I think it still is a good tag, but I thought that I was like, I don't care about that at all. Like whatever. And so there was a player in Toronto whose tag was Plum, and this was before you could switch your Special G tag like every 6 weeks or whatever. It was like a year, like you can't switch it. And he switched his tag to Popeye's Biscuits, and his sponsor was Buy Me. So he just wanted some Popeye's Biscuits. And I was like, this guy doesn't give a shit about his tag because, like, to him it means nothing. And I was like, you can make your tag mean as much or as little as you want, really. And so I thought about putting Free Palestine, and this was like, you know, I hadn't really gotten that good at that point. I mean, I was all right, but like, there's no, like, once I thought oh, I could switch my tag to Free Palestine, I felt like I couldn't go the other way. Like, once I thought that, there's no justification otherwise for me at that point to not switch my tag and not go full send on this issue. Because it's something I really did care about. And it's like, do I care about Millhouse? No. Do I have a reason to care about Millhouse? No. Do I have a reason to care about this thing? Yes, a lot. This. And, you know, since then, I honestly haven't looked back, and I you know, there's no reason I would. And I've gotten a lot of questions like, you know, what about sponsors? What about this? What about that? Like, and I didn't explain this, I think, almost anywhere else, but if you guys remember the EGLX tournament in, like, it was like 6-7 months ago in Toronto, right? I went to that tournament, and they were doing this thing where if you were, this was before I was top 100, and it was like the highest placing non-top 100 player would get like a certain amount of money, and they would fly him out to any major of their choice. You know, huge deal, right? Especially to people who are like, you know, if you're in Toronto, you're gonna get flied to SoCal or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And at this point, people had, the TO had messaged me. And it was like, your tag might be a problem in this case, like, because whoever's providing the money for the sponsor, like, it's not like directly the TO. It's like, you know, whatever company or whoever was giving them the money was like, they don't want to be associated with that like that. And so they were like, can you switch your tag for this event? Can you do this? Can you do that? Like, and this was before I even went. So like, they were making me think about this and making me, you know, maybe switch this stuff. But like, then at that point, you start thinking like, you know, I'm a privileged kid living in Ohio, right? Like, I have American and Palestinian citizenship. And if the only thing that comes from me switching my tag to Free Palestine is I might not be able to get flown out to another tournament, which is also a privilege, in comparison to what people I know and my family members and everything that have to go through in Palestine, that's nothing.
Yeah, you were
and
like,
so at that point, it's the same thing. It's the easy choice. It's like you can't even think about it. It's like, I would have. I lost to Null at that tournament. I went like 2-2. It was pretty badly seeded, and he got upset, and then I lost. So that's how it goes. You know, you lose to None and Null for going 2-2 at the tournament, because that's how it goes sometimes. But like, you know, win that sponsorship or not, that's what I was gonna do. And it's like I said, like, you can't, once you start thinking like that, you can't start capitulating and be like, oh, but maybe, like, you know, getting flown to Evo would be really cool.
What I think is right, but only if it doesn't immediately hurt me and my privilege, you know? Like, you can't really think like that.
And this has come up again, because as I started streaming, like, I'm reading through Twitch guidelines, and literally, like, half the stuff, I was like, you can't be politically motivated. You can't, like, have emotes that are like that. And I'm like, dude, my Twitch name is Free Palestine now. Like, what do you mean I can't do this? Like that's just like
fucked.
But like I said, it's nothing in comparison to like what people actually have to do. So
of course,
that's kind of how it is. And it's like, if you have something to believe in, then it gives me a lot of power in myself too. Like, because like, you know, as I said, like, I wasn't anything, but people like the tag, and that means way more to me than if somebody's like, yo, cool Sheik, I like your soft back airs. Like. I don't think about my soft backers. I just do them. Like, I didn't do anything for that. I just did it. It's like, you know, but that's kind of how I felt about it. And it's like, you know, it's my heritage too. Like, I want people to know. And it's like, every single person that, you know, like I was talking about earlier, you take these 3-hour car rides to Indiana, got jack shit to talk about. The dude who's doesn't even, like, people have asked me on car rides, is Palestine a city? Like, these are legitimate questions Americans have asked me while like we're traveling together, and like they've known that my tag is this, and they ask, yo, is Palestine like a city? Like, what's up? And I'm like, all right, well, let me start. And you know, you got 3 hours.
Watch, it's just like, oh, all right. It's like, strap
no, it's like, as much as people, like, I can go in as depth as people want. So it's like, if people are receptive and ready to learn and willing to, at least, like, a thing that I always say is, it's not even about me telling you why you should, like, believe in what I believe. I just want you to hear my perspective and the perspective of the people I know.
Yeah.
Because, like, in reality, like, perspective and empathy is, like, what really drives people to understand each other and not be, oh, that guy's tag is Free Palestine, fuck that dude, he's a terrorist, whatever, you know, like just understand where I'm coming from and what, I've gotten that a lot. Like,
I like,
like, Twitter DMs, YouTube, like, in person, like, it doesn't matter.
The DM is a nuts move because it's not even.
You get ignorant ass questions and statements, and it's like,
it's
like, it might even be coming from an okay place, but like, when they see that you're so like just seeing my tag, it's like purely political. It's like people will see that and be like, oh, he's I can just say this because he's taking a stand on this, so I can just
Mm.
take whatever I want and throw it at him. But like, that's not how it is. Just listen to what I have to say. Let's have a conversation. Like,
Yeah.
that's all I'm trying to do. And when that happens, you can come to a mutual understanding, which is honestly my favorite part about it, is that you can come to these understandings and like explain your situation. And like, a lot of times people have never heard about this stuff, like literally at all. Like, gamers in Indiana, like, why the hell do they have to care about Palestine? They shouldn't. Like, why should they? But I'm gonna tell them why I care, and that's all that I can really do.
Well,
like, it's up to them whether they actually care or not. That's how it is.
I mean, once you're paying tax to a government that's directly funding something, you could argue that
too.
you should care as a citizen who's like indirectly contributing.
America's been doing that for so long; they haven't cared.
Yeah. But I mean, in that sense, you can really relate it back to the average gamer who maybe works part-time or full-time, and it's like, hey, did you know when the government takes some of your money, that goes to bullets that are like directly going through like the bodies of my people potentially, and you don't really have a say in that because of how this country works, and
neither do I. Is the problem?
and
I'm doing what I can.
Whether they agree or disagree with like that battlefront, essentially, what they should be worried about is the fact that like munitions are being built and being forced on these people through the money that they're raising, and like whether they're pro or anti this exact conflict. I think you'd find very few people who are like, well, did you know that that your money is being spent on potentially taking the lives of X, Y, and Z people that you don't even know about, and are you okay with that?
Like,
and
making people aware that they're actually in a involuntary fundraiser. It's just,
I mean, there's not. Unfortunately, there's nothing you can really do with that information. Like, you can't really just stop paying tax or stop existing in the place that you exist. But at least knowing that, like, this stuff really does happen. And I think there's a real art, and I'm sure that you're getting pretty good at perfecting it in terms of presenting the facts and not coming across too strong, because that's what creates.
Yeah, because I never want to be the guy that is like so aggressive, and like, I don't want to be hateful. Like, I know people's backgrounds and their positions are just that. They're their backgrounds. I'm not going to hate on somebody's background, because then I'm just being as ignorant as somebody else would be who's just calling me a terrorist or something. It's the same thing. It's like, it's like, you gotta.
A big key is definitely like how you present information, and especially like information that is the opposite of what they like currently believe or what they're like told to believe. Like, it's even
Which is
like
hard.
Yeah, it
it's
is
hard
very
to,
hard.
like,
It's even
that.
like, I hate to relate it back to Melee, but it's just like someone does like this thing, and that's really bad. Like, say they always jump in the corner or something. There's two ways you can do it. Like, you could be like, oh, like, I feel like I'm catching you out a lot when like you jump in the corner like that. Like, here's some things you can do to replace it. Or like rah, because it's like, I feel like I'm catching it out a lot. But then you can be like, you're so fucking dumb, man. Like, for jumping in the corner like that. Like, are you serious? Like such a stupid thing to do. And like,
you're only going to drive them away from either what they're saying or doing the right thing, which is what you really want them to be doing. So
yeah, exactly. And like, there's definitely no need to just, I don't know. Like, some people have just been like fed this nonsense like their whole life.
Yeah, which is so hard to overturn in one conversation or even one interaction. That sometimes that's never my goal, right? I'm just as I said, it's just a perspective type thing, and I think especially with Americans a lot is like, why would you have that perspective? Like, Columbus, Ohio, or whatever. Like, I've grown up here. Like, there's no perspective that you can gain unless you talk to somebody like me and have this conversation. Which, like, if you're not originally politically motivated, why would you seek that out? Like, it's kind of not on them, right? It's kind of on me, on whoever's trying to do it. And so you don't want to push people out there. You want to, like, I don't know.
It's also a tough stance to take. Like, if you live in an area that's like, a lot of people have like mild Jewish descent in America. And if you're like, hey, look, the place that you might be aspiring to go, or that your family have just come back from, is like the home base for like an American war effort, essentially, and that's being collaborated on, they're not really going to be like, my family and my family's beliefs are like very heavily centered around this thing that really sucks for your people. It's a hard thing to internalize when, the media on their side of the issue is completely different.
And I've had people tell me that exact thing you said, is like, like, I'm of a Jewish background. Like, all of my family growing up have had one very specific side to this issue. And it's like, you can't even bring this up at like the dinner table or whatever, because then you're just like practically spitting on your family members in whatever aspect it is. And like, if I tried to be Zionist towards my family members, that's exactly what they would do. So it's like kind of same things. You have to understand people are just from a different background. It's like, yeah, like that's the experience that they've been told for so long. They've gone to Sunday school or whatever for this many years, and that's just what they've heard. And it's like, I'm not here to make you start a fight with your family. Like, that's not what I want to do.
Yeah, for sure.
That's not like my position anyways. Like,
these decisions aren't being made by a random American Jew in Ohio, like to push a war effort for it. It's like
not his choice. Yeah.
And whether the truth is the way that, like what you're telling them or not, it's often very uncomfortable to listen to. Like,
some people just like freak out if like their beliefs are like contradicted at all, even no matter how calmly you approach it. Like
where it's like you tell them something and they're like, "No way, dude," and you're like, okay, like I'm telling you.
Yeah, and then even when someone like just straight out denies something like that, and you're like, "Hey, we can look at the facts right now," and they're like, that website isn't plausible, and it's like the UN website, or it's like like the Pentagon website, and you're like, "Bro, this isn't like a conspiracy site. Like these are like peer-reviewed journals of like these statistics are real, and this is what's been going on," and they're just like, nah, not in my America.
Yeah, it's just like this isn't what I think it is.
Yeah.
Thank you for your opinion.
Extremely custom.
It's like, well, again, it's facts. Like, nah, heavy word.
And then they're just like, you're just getting really wound up. It's like, you show someone facts about something, and they're like, bro, like, why are you taking this so seriously now? Yeah. And you're like, what do you? All I did was just show you like the facts that you disputed. And they're like, yeah, I know, but like, why you
just calm down, love?
Yeah, it's
like,
crazy.
Well, no, not really, but okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I think you're doing a really great thing there, and I'm sure you're explaining it, knowing you in a way that hopefully Smashers can maybe not even digest, but at least be comfortable with, listening and thinking about.
And I understand Smashers and where they're coming from, so that helps a lot. Like if some professor was trying to explain to these Smashers the Palestinian-Israeli conflict or whatever, it would not go as well. As you say, sometimes you gotta just bring it in melee terms. They won't understand otherwise.
Yeah.
It's like, so you got your favorite...
You gotta put a Yoshi on a stage or something, and then they get it.
You got your favorite pizza place, and you've been going to that pizza place for thousands of years, and they got the best $2 slices.
You're not allowed to don't take my slices from me.
And not only that, but another group move in and say it was their pizza place. And
but you've been in that pizza place for how long now? And
exactly.
And gaming. That's the only way.
I love pizza, and you love pizza. Like I love Palestine.
Or like, when does the 1.25 Pepsi come in? And so anyway, they've got foreign investment sending them $2 Pepsis, so they can drink Pepsis now, and you're just out on the street of your favorite pizza place. Yeah.
Oh man, you really have to like make up your own code for them, but they'll learn. We can only hope. It's actually so gross that you get like fucked comments just because your name's Free Palestine, though.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it is, but like it's not like I didn't know. I'm gonna honestly, growing up where I grew up, a lot of the time, like you're gonna get fucked comments because my name is Anise. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like people will say ignorant shit because they're ignorant. It's not because of anything specific that I've done, even though I've chosen to use the tag Free Palestine. Like I know that ignorant people are going to say something about it. It's like, I was never going to be like, look at all these people being mean to me. Like, yeah, I kind of knew. Like I'm not ignorant about that. Like I knew people were going to say, like, start talking shit, and like that's something that I've had to accept responsibility for as well. Because like, I'm going to say it right now, as I said before, like if you have a problem with what I'm saying, like come into my Twitter DMs. Let's talk about it. Don't just post some ignorant shit on my post on Twitter and just move on and like get blocked or something. Like that's not how you come to these things. But like if somebody actually wants to have a conversation about this and like wants to explain something, then that's one thing. If they just want to call me a terrorist, whatever, that's a separate issue. They're going to do that either way in my mind because I'm Palestinian. That's just what their position is towards my people. Like that's not because I'm saying Free Palestine, it's because I'm Palestinian. Like if you think one thing is being a terrorist, then you think being that thing is the same thing. Like there's no, like you can't just say, oh yeah, it's because of that, but not this. It's like you're coming from that ignorant place. If you just want to talk, that's different than if you just do it. But of course, I knew that was going to happen. Like and it's always going to happen.
People will definitely just like jump on people who feel passionately about things as well, and they'll just say the first like, well, again, ignorant thing that they can think of. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, oh, I've gotten that a lot, especially
it's
recently with
ridiculous.
streaming. Yeah,
Yeah,
someone would come in just type something about Hamas and be like, "Yo, did you see that thing?" And I was like, talk to me. Don't just say something about Hamas or something. Like, you don't even know what Gaza is, and you're talking about Hamas.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's some sort of like checkmate in this like sort of weird like interaction
yeah.
that they
It's like
they
I've
have
won
in
up
their
to you.
mind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
like,
like this media narrative of like who's done the most recent bad guy move, and you know
Yeah.
which just like gives a green light to go and commit other war crimes or whatever.
Yeah.
And there must be so many days. This is something I've been thinking about this whole time, where you're just chilling at the venue thinking about Melee or whatever, and that tag being there prompts somebody to bring this up with you, and you're like almost caught off guard by it because it's you almost forget that that's like a very political statement that's being broadcast on stream, but also to everybody in the venue, and you're just being you, a smasher trying to play the game, maybe thinking about when you're going to go get food or whatever, and someone comes up to you and it's like an open invitation that they feel is just always there to start having this discourse, and you're kind of just completely out of that. Does that happen?
That happens a lot, and I mean, it happens in a way where normally it's okay because like, they're not gonna just sit there and talk to me for 5 minutes because like, they don't want that either a lot of the time. But like I kind of take it as a responsibility to at least hear out all this stuff, anyways. Especially if somebody's come up to me in person. Like if it's a YouTube comment, like they can screw off. Like that's got no power at all, right?
Yeah,
like
true,
whatever.
true.
But like if you come up to me in person and you're saying something, I'll listen and I'll like. But yeah, it's a responsibility that I've taken, I guess, upon myself. And it's like
I was gonna say it's definitely like
and it's like
yeah,
and it's like at locals and stuff, it's like, yeah, I've seen these same 40 people over and over again, so they know my tag is Free Palestine. But the one new guy comes in and is like, yo, the second seed here is called Free Palestine. Like, what's that about? And it's like, well, you gotta come over here, man. Let me talk to you.
Yeah, you gotta go through the whole
next
thing, yeah.
And it's, you never know how people are going to react, right? It's like this guy's first time he's ever heard of this tag. Sometimes people pop off, and as I say, I fucking love that. Like, it's awesome. Like, I had this very, like, this memory of, like, some guy was from an Indiana university or something trying to interview me about my tag and stuff. And we're in, like, you remember Full Blue Miles, where it's, like, right outside the venue, it's, like, a university, right? Like, it's just, like, a corridor, and people are just, like, walking and stuff.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there in this, like, busy corridor having this interview, and people are coming up and saying, like, yo, dope tag, whatever it is, right? And, like, saying something. And, like, that, in that moment, was, like, almost, like more important to me than anything I've done as a Melee player. Like, that these people are coming up, and because they know that that's what I stand for, and they also stand for it. It's like, solidarity means a lot, and that's sometimes more important than, like, anything else you could have said to me or done. It's just, just understand that, at least, like, that we're on the same page about this. Because that, as I said, when I think about, like, when other people think about Free Palestine, they think about certain things and maybe think about the overall political entity. I think about my family members, about where I'm going to go home, like my house in the West Bank, and like what's going to happen there and all this other stuff. It's like way more emotionally motivated for me than Melee is even, like,
Yeah.
Like that's, that's why I got that thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, that's how it is. So that's like, that's cool as well. It's like, I can make, like, Melee is a game where we have so much meaning in it, right? And there's so much that we're all investing. And then there's this other aspect now to my Melee play that's something that a few years ago I would have never even thought about.
Yeah.
And, whether or not I got good or not probably would have been something that people would have said. And, like, getting top 100 is like a certain thing, but seeing Free Palestine written on the Redwood website, that's different. That's a fundamentally different thing to see and to feel than just seeing Millhouse or whatever. It's like,
yeah,
to tag, scroll through. And it's like, I don't even know the amount of people that have seen that and thought about it, let alone have talked to me. It's like magnitudes more of that have just moved on, but have still seen it and thought about it. And it's like, any one person who says, yo, I've thought about it, like, I've had people even tell me, like, I had literally no idea about this. I looked it up. Like, what the fuck? And I'm like, yeah, I know, right? And it's like, that's all it is. That's all it takes.
Yeah, and having Smash be a political thing as well, it's like an issue that's very close to your heart in your tag, is the polar opposite of just having it be Millhouse, which is like completely unrelated to you, or a name that's like,
it's like, I actually don't even like that guy. But,
yeah, I don't like. Yeah, and then everybody's like, oh, Millhouse from The Simpsons, and then I have to explain that Millhouse from The Simpsons is actually based off Richard Nixon's middle name, because it's such a funny and dumb middle name that you can base an entire unfortunate character out of it. That's what the creator of The Simpsons did. I had to do that whole thing, but
I like
It's a
the
complete.
alternative is definitely a lot more pog.
Yeah.
That's
We're sticking with it. I don't think I'm
Yeah.
going back.
Are there
Yeah.
times where it's tired you out, or you wished that you could just turn it off for a day, or you've taken some comments and you wish that it wasn't associated with Melee?
Nah, because it's part of my identity, anyways. Like as a person, like
Yeah, of
it's
course.
being a person. My name is Anis. That's not an American name. Like that's a Palestinian name. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's who I am. It's more than just Melee. Like I'm always wearing the necklace and stuff. It's not just like I can't turn it off. Like people think like, oh yeah, keep that. As they always say, like keep politics out of video games,
Oh,
whatever. It's
yeah,
like
no.
I can keep politics out of my own life. Like you think I can keep it out of these
Yeah.
games? Like
Yeah.
it's not something I have control over, which is like something that's completely like mind-boggling to somebody who's not affected by any external political issue.
I
It's
guess
like I don't even think that way.
a better question, like a more to the point of what I was trying to get at, does any of the flame ever get, like, obviously you've talked about all of the amazing positive stuff that's come from it. Do you feel like the flame ever gets to you, or educating people is like, is it some days where it's
Yeah.
like too much? Some guy just says some ignorant shit when you lose, and you're just like, ugh.
Nah, I mean, like honestly, it happens where like in the moment I'm like, come on, like
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that guy was gonna say something anyways. Is the way I see it. It's like, as I said, like it doesn't. I never like the positive interactions are so much more meaningful than any one singular negative interaction.
Of
Like I said,
course.
like that guy on YouTube means nothing to me.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
whatever. Like you say what you want. But like the pure person who comes up to me at full bloom and like sits down and is like, yo, I really, really appreciate that this is your tag and this is the thing that your cause is for. Like if that was the only thing anybody had ever said, it would be more worthwhile than all of the negative comments I had combined. Like that's just what I believe. Because otherwise, like I gotta go over there and sit on a border for 10 hours in the heat, getting yelled at or whatever, just to get in my own country. That's worse than whatever somebody can say to me here. Like
For sure.
I said, like these people are just flaming me with words or whatever. It's like you do realize that's like nothing, right? Like they don't realize, and that's why they do it. That's so little to any Palestinian who's had to go through things and like be be oppressed for being
Just
Palestinian or
existing,
whatnot.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's just like it's so little, and like in reality, like if you're doing it over a video game, it means even less. And it's like at some point, I can almost laugh at them. Like I can almost say like you're getting so heated.
It's
about
absurd,
this
isn't it? It's really absurd.
you don't realize how little it, like they can't even comprehend how little that matters in the grand scheme of the conflict alone, let alone me within it and like the people I know who are affected. So it's like
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, of course it gets annoying and it gets too much sometimes, and it's like I'd rather not think about it sometimes, but like I've taken that upon myself, so it's a responsibility thing, and in the end it's nothing in comparison to what people have to go through. So I'm very lucky to be in my position right now in almost every situation, so I'm never gonna think like, oh man, I wish I could have done that, like not done this or been different or anything. It's like that's the cards you're dealt, and that's what I've chosen. So full send either way.
No, I agree. Like it's obviously you couldn't change it, and you would never want to, as you said. There's nothing else that you would change it to. Nothing else makes sense.
You can't go back once. Like
Yeah, you really had to see Free Palestine go back to Millhouse.
Yeah,
it's like
it'd be like
maybe there's a smoke tag sometimes.
yeah, it's just
Wouldn't
like,
know either way.
I just like to mix it up, Just, oh man, that'd be fucked.
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes I enter locals as something funny, like the Iron Sheik, but with the like the sheikh, like like the Arab. Yeah, do what you want sometimes, but people know anyways.
And it's cool to take that opposite thing and be like, this is what I'm about. I'm not just gonna have a random tag. I'm gonna put me and something that is so close to my identity and something that is such an issue that you're faced with into that. I feel like that's a really cool thing to be doing within the community, and we could all do that a little bit more. And I think we are moving to a direction.
It's very different in Melee too. Like a lot of people have brought it up to me. Like they're reading through the top 100s, like Bobby Big Balls. They're like, huh? And then it's like so different seeing that than seeing Free Palestine or whatever it is. It's like, it's like it's Ryo beat me then Ryan Ford in the order, and it's like what do those mean? Like this guy Ryan Ford's tag is just his name.
Yeah,
it's his name.
And
so, but yeah, it's pretty different.
It's so sick that Bobby Big Balls is is an expression of him as much as Free Palestine is an expression of you in a way. Like
two sides of a very different coin, I guess.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And if that's like relevant to him, and like when he goes on stream or whatever, people see Bobby Big Balls, and he's like, haha, that me. That's his thing, and he's doing his thing, and then you're doing your thing, and like it's cool that Melee is a place where you can call yourself whatever you want, and the nature of tags like Ryan Ford, maybe he just didn't want to come up, maybe he was happy being Ryan Ford in Melee just like he's happy being Ryan Ford in real life, you know. And I think it's so cool that you're able to choose something that's relevant to you, and that for the most part the Melee community fucks with it. If it's real, I think they fuck with it.
I think people know that, like, I'm not doing it just to be like, because some people would pick a tag like mine just to be inflammatory, just to start conversation, just to start that stuff, which is completely different. And like, you know, I've had this tag for so long, and I've responded to so many Twitter DMs, you know, etc. that I can't, like, anybody who says that, like, they're just not coming in good faith. And as long as you're coming in good faith, I'll talk about it. You know, I'll have a conversation as long as it's a good faith argument, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
That's at the end of the day what it is. And like you were saying, it's like, in Melee, like, we're not esports enough to the point where, like, you can't just have whatever tag you really want as long as it's not, like very crude or straight offensive or whatever. It's just, like, you do what you want.
Yeah, and it's just another level that you can express yourself in the community and in the game.
Mm-hmm. And there's so many ways to express yourself in Melee that, I mean, you might as well do it in your tag too, I guess, sometimes.
Yeah, this whole discussion about tags feels like... It feels pretty dog shit when my tags are Kingdom Hearts main character Sora. He made that up in about 20 seconds flat. You know, that's just all my self-expression, man. That's what I'm passionate about. Is a game I played when I was about 8 years old, and that's fucking.
It's a cool tag. I don't know anything about. I don't know anything about Kingdom Hearts, and that's probably why it's a cool tag.
Yeah, it's for the best, man. You should definitely keep it that way.
Yeah, being a Kingdom Hearts fan though is, I remember when we were in America and Kingdom Hearts 3, was that the new one?
Oh yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 came out.
You were so ready to play that, dude, and it was just did not live up.
Easily one of the worst games I've ever played in my life. It's just like 18 hours of Disney advertising to you, and then I just looked at my tag and I'm like, this is what I'm repping up. I'm just another Disney lapdog, I guess.
Look, if you get paid by them, it's worth it.
It's thank you. Mickey ain't giving me a fucking cent, man. Let's be honest.
Mickey will ask you to do some stuff for the currency, man.
Yeah, it's true. But on the Mickey don't play like that. I remember like randomly people just started. I don't know where it came from. People just started calling me Josh Man, and I'm just like, what? Like, what is this? Like, you know, like where did this come from? And people would just start cheering it and shit like that. And that's when, like, because Sora was always just like a tag for me, right? It's just like, whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, that's just name I use while playing the video game. And then all of a sudden, like, this is like people, like, even Americans started calling me it. And I'm just like, what? Like, I like, didn't put this anywhere. Yeah. So my mate in the chat, Kaylin in the chat, he just screamed it. And it just suddenly stuck. Yeah. It just stuck. And I was just like, wow, this is something I definitely identify with more than just like, an 8-year-old favorite game, hee. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
And I mean,
it was dope.
I had something similar. Like you said, is like you've never written that down, right? Like you never called yourself that. And it's like when my tag was Millhouse, people just started calling me Millie, like Milly.
Yeah.
It's like I've never written that down. It's like Free Palestine is a bit of a mouthful a lot of the time, but it's kind of nice because like I haven't written the tag even Millhouse in like 2 years, but people know to call me Millie. Like it's like people know that somehow. It's like whatever way they do. It's kind of nice. It's like, it's not a name I came up for myself even. It's just like how it is.
Yeah.
It's just like,
and that's the beauty of it as well. Like my tag became Don B because it was originally I signed up to Smashboards. I just watched a documentary. I signed up to Smashboards with the username That Ain't Falco. And that wasn't taken? I was playing Falco. I think it was taken, so I actually signed up as Miles. TAF, which was even harder. I remember showing up to like my first meets, and for the first couple of months I just played as like Miles or something, and people actually thought I was a gimmick account on Smashboards because I was hosting a tournament and nobody knew who I was. That was like how I came into the scene. But anyway, one day our friend always used to do commentary over our friendlies. We would just be getting hype, and like he would just start like kind of rapping over our friendlies, almost like doing like fake esports commentary, because he is like a big Halo fan, and he would just like, we would all just drink and like just rap over friendlies basically with commentary. And one day he said, "Oh, Miles Donby going for the combo," but he like whispered Donby. You know when you don't know someone's name like for certain, so you kind of like say it under your breath to feel the room out. And one of our other friends who was sitting next to him goes, "What the fuck is Donby, dude?"
You were like, "Oh,
yeah,
it's not bad."
yeah.
Like,
So
it's
then
me,
they
I
just
guess.
all started calling me Donby, and then that's just how that started. But
Donby's a very dope tag.
and then
It's a good
people
tag.
call me Donny now, and so a lot of people, heaps of people that I met in America thought Donny was just
Think your
my
name is
actual
Donny,
name,
yeah.
because everyone's just like, "Hey Donny, what are we doing after this?" or like whatever. That people call me that at tournaments more than Miles, so it's kind of like the Millie thing. It just evolves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this person I've never met. It's like, what?
Yeah, my first instinct with Free Palestine is definitely just to say Pally, but I always feel like it's a little bit disrespectful to
Yeah,
all.
especially
But-
considering-
Some commentators will do loops and loops to not say Free Palestine. They'll come up with some really weird ass combinations.
Yeah.
The irony of that one is as well, like like Pally being short for like Paladin is like completely like like I guess opposed to Middle Eastern culture and stuff in history, right?
Yeah.
Some crusader
yeah,
shit.
yeah, that's fucked up. That's like the complete
It's just the
opposite.
first thing that came to my head. I'm sorry. I'm a gamer. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Oh man.
Yeah, we have someone in the chat, Takano, who like for whatever reason, I think
Calling free.
one day we all just started saying "Hey Takano," and like
Yeah.
it just like that. I love what I'm trying to get at is I love the way tags evolve and take something else on, and then I guess you being called Millie more than a niece at tournaments is just that's just life now.
Yeah, it's
mean-
just like
I'll respond to either, but like nobody else is called Millie, so it's not like people are just gonna be turning which way to like hear it. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
whatever.
it's also
like-
how you know if you found a gamer in public is if someone's just like, "Oh, Sora," I'd be like, "Oh, that's a like no like no one
Yeah.
who recognized me from like normal stuff is gonna be like, oh, that's like call me Sora for no reason, you know."
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
like a gamer like identification.
Catches you off guard for sure too. Sometimes. There was one time I was just walking on campus, and two people that went to my high school I haven't seen in literally like since high school rolled down their windows and just yelled "Free Palestine" out their windows, and I was like, "Huh? Like, how did you? Like why?" They like knew.
Yeah, I actually
Play
remember
Smash or something.
about so I have like 3 little younger sisters, and they just come into the room, like into my room, like and wake me up just going like Sora, Sora, so, and now I hate that tag more than anything. It
Like
woke
a
me up.
chant.
It's dog shit.
It's so hard.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and evolve it into Josh Man, but it's kind of almost cringe to call yourself Josh Man. You know what I mean? It's just like
That's pretty funny.
yeah, it's something. Like either other people call me it or because I can't call myself it.
They-
Like even having it as my Disky name is it's fucking.
I was gonna say I see your Discord name.
Hey, don't worry about that, man. don't worry about that.
All of Irvine just decided that my name was Donald. So whenever I would go to tournaments, Squid or like Face Roll especially would be like, "Hey Donald, what are you doing, Donald?" And they would call me like Donald Benson or Donald B or whatever.
I like Donald Benson.
Donald Benson.
But-
Yeah, it seems like that's what it is.
It's like not really the best time to be like. I feel like especially in California, they would always be calling out Donald, and I was like, I don't want to
Oh,
be
yeah.
associated. Like, don't. Like,
The Australian Donald, not the American
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Oh man.
Well, we just crossed the 2 hour mark, so generally that's as long as these go. But I could chat all day, boys.
Oh, that's 11
Absolutely.
p.m. I got nothing.
Yeah.
It's your call. But
I mean, did you have any other topics you wanted to talk about at all, Miles, or even?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of
Yourself
covered it
and
all
these.
with like identity and tags. I wanted to go through that a little bit, but
we talked about Melee for a bit too.
yeah, we got right into the melee.
Oh, you'd love to hear that. Did you have anything you wanted to bring up at all, Anise, or?
I got nothing in specific. I really want to come to Australia at some point, honestly. Like, I've been
Yes.
trying to figure out a way to
Yes.
come to New Zealand, Australia.
But
But
100%, like you'd be welcome with open arms. We'd
Yeah,
love to have you.
if that can ever happen, I'm trying to go as soon as possible. People are asking about my cat.
Yeah,
Hold up.
definitely get your cat. Welcome, brother. That's a box, bro.
Oh.
Oh, there's a cat in the box.
This guy looks extremely cozy.
This is my cat Zaytun. It means olive in Arabic. He's very nice. He's very soft.
He's
He likes
such
his
a
box.
cutie. What the hell?
He seems
He's
pretty
so-
unfazed.
He's literally like
Oh
always
my.
unfazed. He's like never scratched anybody like ever. Like I don't understand how a cat could be so docile. Like you fuck with him, whatever. Like pick him up while he's in his box. You know, tap,
Yeah,
tap,
like
tap,
most
tap, tap.
most cats would be skits in it right now, but this cat's
Like
just
look at him. He's sleeping. He's curled up. He's
Yeah.
he's so soft.
oh,
But yeah, Zaytun.
we have a cat here. It's an outdoor cat, and all it does is yell for food and then run if you approach it. So I don't know what's wrong with him, but I mean, he's probably seen some shit, man.
Yeah, he doesn't even meow that much. He's just kind of like he sounds like a pigeon. Like he burrs. I don't know how to explain it. He just always sounds like a pigeon. That's
He bursts.
the first time I went to I got him, and then I went to Seattle for it was supposed to be for Don't Park, but the tournament got canceled, and I still had a non-refundable plane ticket. So I'm going to Seattle anyways.
Yeah.
So I go to Seattle, and seagulls everywhere, and like I stopped myself like 4 times about to walk into a seagull, thinking I'm gonna run into my cat, because he kind of looks like a goddamn pigeon seagull, and as I said, he coos and burrs like a bird. Doesn't make any sense. It's okay.
He's a little man's. Yeah, I mean, if we don't have really anything else to
One
talk
thing
about.
I would love an update on is the Bad Melee podcast Discord. Obviously, I'm not as active in there as you might be, but I open it up every now and then. Let me know what there's memes, there's poker games going on. Give me the lowdown. What's been happening?
So there's many an offshoot. If you want to play CS, there's a CS chord. You want to play poker, there's a poker chord, and also all this stuff happens in it too. So it's
Yeah.
like kind of, people find what they want to do with the people they want to do it,
Yeah.
and they just do it. And then like yesterday, there were like 25 people in VoIP yesterday, all with their cameras on. It was insane. It was like
Holy
literally like 20 people. It was kind of nuts. It was like 3 a.m. Yeah, but that's what's going on in that regard.
Yeah.
Everybody loves you there, Miles. You might as well show up sometimes.
Yeah, Sam was telling me about it, and it's weird because I actually feel kind of like not alienated from something that I created, but it's like it's moved so far beyond the show. Obviously, like it's moved, and
It's so different, yeah.
moved beyond that like years ago, right? And I feel very, very happy to have created something that brought people together through like a common interest or enjoying something, and to make so many friends. Like Sam was saying how like he really loves being able to talk to all these people, and he's so grateful that he met all of these people. And I'm thankful for that aspect. But on the other side, I'm like, well, this has moved so far beyond anything that I've actually made or been involved in that like I don't really know, like maybe I could jump in for a chat or something, but it's almost kind of like irrelevant now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, like when I went to Don't Park, I stayed with somebody who's in the Bad Melee Discord that I wouldn't have met otherwise, and he just housed me for 3 days. We went to Vancouver together. Like we drove up to Canada and had a weekend there too. It was a great time, and it's like, like I said, like you created that, so like thank you for those opportunities too. Like I've stayed with these people in like Houston and in Arkansas, and like I've been all over and like met these people and stayed in their homes and stuff, and it's like otherwise I would have never met them, never been friends,
Yeah. Well, I
that's
guess,
cool as hell.
Yeah, we were just doing something that Smash, like a certain subsection of Smashers enjoyed, and I'm glad that could bring those people together. So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Someone in chat's asking, do I feel in any way slightly responsible for Ludwig's success? No, not at all. I think he is just destined for where he is right now, and if anything, we probably hold him back.
Yeah, he's definitely on top of it, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's a machine, and he used to rap like that to us when it was just us, and we used to be like, dude, turn off Twitch, Ludwig. Like, even when he had like 5 viewers, he'd be talking to us, like getting us hyped up and stuff, like, all right, boys. And we were like, dude, like what's going on?
Boys, yeah.
Yeah. And so like he's always had that in him, and it's super sick to see him doing well.
Yeah, dude, very nice. I slept on that guy's floor a couple times when I went to LA. And like everybody else, like last time I went, he was like, starting to get like, Twitch was like his full-time job at that point.
Yeah.
It's like, everybody else like working at BTS would like go to work, and I'd like wake up at like 9 or whatever, and I'd just be like on the floor in their kitchen. He would just come down, make a coffee, be like, hey, so like just chilling there.
Yeah.
Have a conversation. He's
I remember
very nice.
being
Yeah.
in America, like for this year's Genesis, and he just comes downstairs. I'm just like, just waking up off the floor at like 1 p.m. and he's like, yeah, I just made about 17 grand from blackjack, and I'm like, oh my. He's like, yeah, it was fucking dope. I'm like, fuck, man. I'm like, Jesus.
That
I'm like, me. I'm sleeping on this goddamn floor hitting sticks.
A year ago, me and
Teach
him
their own.
before that was splitting gas to go to AZ. You know, like he was working at Best. Like he really did do that shit. Like you know, a lot of people who blow up tell those stories of like, ah man, I used to be like grinding, or like used to work at Best Buy and like splitting gas and stuff. Like he was just riding or dying to tournaments and just about hanging out with the homies through and through before any of this stuff. So super sick.
Yeah, I'm very happy for him too. That's awesome.
He actually broke my phone during a poker game once in Arizona by complete accident. And like it was clear that it was just bricked. Like he swept it off the table and
Just gone.
he insta bought me a new one. He was like, fuck dude, that's gonna suck. And he was like, we were kind of like talking about how we were gonna get it repaired or whatever, and he was like, like, and he didn't have like he wasn't, you know, the pulling the revenue that he's pulling now.
No 20k subs.
No 20k subs to back it up. I mean, now he'd be like, my phone, you know, like he would just order it without even thinking. But he ordered it without even thinking back then. You know, he got on his phone and he was like, oh, one will be arriving at the house when we get back. And like that he's always been like that. He's always helped the boys out. Like anything.
Definitely offered me the first thing he said when he came downstairs and just saw me like chilling, he's like, do you want like a laptop or something? I was like, I appreciate
You're
it.
just like looking at the wall. You're just like, yes, please.
I was just like in front of a CRT and like Nick had left for work and like Nick was the only one who would like sit up and just grind with me there. So I was just like, you know, just chilling.
Yeah, you know the life of like waiting for the boys to get back. That I lived that life for like months.
It was only like 4 days for me, but so I don't really understand. But
Anthony would get home and I would literally just be like, food? Can we like go do something? He's like, dude, I just worked 8 hours. And I'm like, I've been waiting for you to come home and take me places.
You're like a dog who's just like waiting for any, like they don't turn the TV on or anything. You just like wake up. You're just like, uh-oh, the fellas are home. I remember Donnie and I waking up at sunset over and over.
Yeah, crazy
like,
times.
It was fucked. And then the fellas would come home and we're like, hey, what's up, guys? They're just like, shut up, man. It's just like, we work to the fucking bone. And we're just like, oh, come on, surely we go out, you know, get something done. And then we would just play Magic the Gathering until sunrise and then go to sleep again. We're just like gaming vampires. It was disgusting.
Honestly.
Sorry?
Sounds like Ramadan right now to me.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
wake up at
if you stay up all night and you sleep all day, then Ramadan has no real impact, right?
helps so much. I mean, I've been doing it for like this time too, and you just get so bored. You just like want to eat, and it's just like, well, can't.
Yeah, got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta head off, guys.
Let's
Right.
wrap this one up.
But thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
This
thanks
was
for
awesome, man.
coming on, man. It was super dope talking to you.
Great to hear
Yeah,
what
of
you're
course.
up to, and
Hopefully, I'll see you guys
Definitely
soon sometime.
Definitely gonna take away our conversation about mentality and work on it for sure. And maybe just be really fucking dumb, because that seems like the strat.
Hey, that works sometimes too for a lot of people. Who knows?
It's probably the play.
And yeah, I just want to say real quick, I'll just plug my stream, Free Palestine Now. I've been streaming more often. I'm probably gonna stream tomorrow. So if anyone wants to give me a follow, mighty appreciate it.
I'll give you a follow right now, man.
yeah, let me hit the follow.
Free. Hey, there he is. Last live yesterday.
Okay,
Follow.
okay.
Oh, I do see that you're playing RuneScape though. Gonna have to take
So-
that follow back, but
Look. I played RuneScape for a little bit, realized nobody wants to watch that shit, switched to Melee. It's just how it goes.
RuneScape, the only game less watchable than Melee friendlies.
I was thinking about it. I was like, damn, the two games I want to stream are like RuneScape, like old school RuneScape, a game that came out in like 1999 that they remade because people wanted to play an older game, and Melee. Not a good look. Dusty ass games, dude.
No, that's pretty much where we're at as well. It's like old games. I'm playing like at the moment. I'm playing classic MapleStory, poker, and Melee.
and I want to be the boss here.
Yeah, and that too.
It's a dope game.
Which we'll probably be playing tonight as well if people want.
Yeah,
to
I'm
tune
very
into
down
that.
to play that tonight. That game has been so fucking
We're pretty
fun.
addicted.
All right, fellas, I gotta dip.
All
Thanks
right.
again, man. It was super
Thanks,
nice
yeah.
talking to you.
Peace
Appreciate
out.
you
And
guys.
on
Yeah.
the
Take it easy,
Australia
guys. Thanks
front
for
as
watching.
well, we can definitely talk about that.
What's up?
Oh, in
Yeah,
terms of Josh just bailed on the call, and we can wrap this up. But I was just saying, in terms of coming to Australia, that's something we can talk about, and you know, whether
yeah,
it's going to
dude,
be housing or funding or like something we can do to help you out. That's definitely a conversation we can have.
That'd be awesome. I mean, as I said, like, I just want to go, like, you know, funding or otherwise. Like, I mean, it might be hard because, you know, I don't have a job or whatever, but like I hopefully will be able to see you guys there. It'll be a great time.
Yeah, sick.
All right, take it easy, man.
Peace. Thank you.
Yep.
See you stream.